faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman.
Today, Clark Kent is worried that Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are walking into danger. And, well, he might be, as we learn in a moment.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, have you taken stock lately of your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep? Have you counted up to see how near you are to collecting all 18 buttons in the series? Well, say, here's a tip. It might be a pretty good idea to round off your whole collection this week, because next Monday, I'm going to have something new and exciting to talk to you about, something terrific. So get busy, gang. Check up on your duplicates, and see if you have any to swap, and count up all the different characters that you've collected. Now, there are 18 in all, old funny paper favorites like Pat Patton and Tess Trueheart and Chief Brandon, Vitamin Flintheart and Judy and Corky, and Superman, of course. And if you're still missing a comic button or two, you better remind Mom right now to get you some more Kellogg's Pep. Now, you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. All you do is to look for your prize every time you open a new package of Kellogg's Pep. And look for some mighty delicious eating, too, because Pep is loaded with that catchy sunshine flavor. Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal, and it's mighty good for you, with its sunshine vitamin D and energy vitamin B1 added to good whole wheat flakes. So get your good eating and exciting prizes from P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the Adventures of Superman. Clark Kent finished his assignment to write a feature story on Superman's most unusual adventure, he found Perry White in a raging temper, furious at Lois Lane. Finally calmed down, the gray-haired editor of the Daily Planet told Kent the reason for his outburst was Lois's deliberate disregard for orders. That, flaunting his authority, Lois had gone off with Horatio Horn, an eccentric Daily Planet correspondent, to track down what Horn insisted were mysterious goings-on at the North Fishing Banks in Canada. While White was telling this to Kent, a telegram arrived from Lois saying that she was now convinced that Horatio Horn had found a lead for a hot story, and ominously concluded with,
"If you don't hear from me in 24 hours, I suggest that you contact Superman."
For a moment, Perry White stared at the telegram in his hand. Then, like an overloaded steam boiler, he exploded, accusing Lois of trying to be smart-alecky. But Kent disagreed. Obviously worried, he said,
"No, Chief, I don't think Lois meant this to be smart-alecky at all."
No? Well, what do you think she meant?
I think she's completely serious.
Oh, rubbish.
Well, what makes you so sure you're right? Why can't you believe she and Horatio Horn really did run into a hot story?
Because I know that crackpot Horn well enough by this time not to fall for his hot leads.
Chief, that doesn't mean that
What can you expect from a scatterbrain who's a part-time telegrapher, part-time justice of the peace, part-time amateur detective, and a what have you?
Wait a minute. You can't overlook the fact that Horn did come up with one of the biggest scoops we ever ran.
No, so he was lucky once. Does that make him a Walter Winchell?
No, but he could be right again.
Yes, he could be, but I say he isn't.
All right, let's jump to conclusions. Tell me more about the story he and Lois are chasing down.
I've already told you all I know.
All you told me was that Horatio Horn came to see...
Horatio F. Horn, if you please.
Oh.
F. For fish story.
Wait a minute. Let's forget for a moment your personal feelings about Horn. Just tell me what he said.
Well, he came dashing in to see me with a mad gleam in his eye and a high temperature. All steamed up over what he thinks is a mystery up on the Canadian fishing bank.
How or where did he get the lead?
Well, that is what really killed me.
Why?
It seems that a very wealthy character who, for some unknown reason, chooses to live in Squeen Run, has for many years been getting a regular weekly shipment of a certain rare fish that he relishes for his breakfast.
Yes?
Well, as part-time telegrapher, Horn found out the shipments had suddenly stopped when this fish eater began sending wires to Canada asking for reasons why.
So?
So, from the returning wires, Horn learned that the reason the shipments had ceased was that the fishing fleet had stopped making their runs. And that's what got him all hot and bothered.
There must be more to it than that.
Oh, sure. And I'll tell you what it is. The fishermen are on strike, or fish aren't running, or the weather's bad, or any one of a dozen perfectly logical reasons. Mystery. Why, the only mystery is how a crackpot like Horatio Horn isn't in a padded cell.
I'm sorry, Chief, but I don't go along with you. Granted that Horn isn't any great shakes of a reporter, Lois is. And she wouldn't send a wire like that because of a strike or a storm. I know it.
How do you know it? Do you read tea leaves, or do you look into a crystal ball?
For one thing, we'd have had a report of a strike. For another thing...
Yes?
I don't know. I just got a funny feeling, Chief. Call it a hunch if you like, but...
Oh, here we go again.
Well, I'd feel a lot easier if I were with Lois right now.
Is that so?
Yes. Matter of fact, I think I'll zip up to...
You'll do nothing of the kind.
Oh, now look, Chief.
You heard me.
But, Chief...
You stay right where you are. Don't you set foot out of this office without my okay, or so help me, Hannah, you're through. You understand?
Well, okay, Chief. You win. For now. But I can't promise to make this arrangement definite.
Meanwhile, in San Selmo, a fishing village on the North Atlantic coast of Canada, Lois Lane is seated at a bare wooden table in a shadowy corner of a smoke-filled fisherman's tavern. With her is Horatio F. Horn, eccentric Daily Planet correspondent and amateur detective. Obviously nervous, Lois's fingers drum on the tabletop, and her eyes keep glancing at the door each time it opens to admit another patron.
What time is it now, Horatio?
Let me see. Yes, it's just 8:15.
Yes. Then he's 15 minutes late, isn't he?
Yes, Miss Lane. He promised to meet us here at 8 p.m., so that makes him precisely...
Yes, I know. I've already said it. Look, this is the Blue Anchor, isn't it?
Of course it is. I made quite certain of that before we entered.
And he did say the Blue Anchor, didn't he?
Indeed he did, Miss Lane. Matter of fact, I have it written down right here in my little notebook. See? There it is, written very plainly.
Never mind, Horatio. I believe you.
Good idea not to trust one's memory, you know. I learned that from my correspondence course in detecting, the International Detective Institute course. You see, the human mind, like other human organs...
Please,
has moments of
Horatio,
failure.
some other time.
Very well. I just thought I'd give you the benefit of my experience and knowledge.
I'm sorry. Forgive me if I seem rude, but frankly, I'm upset.
Upset? About what?
Well, I don't like what's going on in this town. It gives me the creeps. And so does this place. What's more, Horatio, I'm afraid our man isn't going to show up.
Oh, I can hardly believe that, Miss Lane. In view of his delighted reaction to your offer of $100 for his services, let's wait just a while longer, huh?
Well, all right. But I can't stand the foul, smoky air in this place. Let's wait for him outside, shall we? Come on.
Feel better now, Miss Lane?
Oh, much. Another 5 minutes in there and I'd have passed out.
Would you like to borrow my coat?
No, thank you. I'm not chilly. I'm just creepy.
Creepy?
Uh-huh. This fog and this mournful clanging of those bellboys and... Well, the whole atmosphere of this village just oppresses me and makes me...
Wait, Miss Lane. I think
What's the matter?
Yes, it is. Look, it's him.
Thank heaven.
Good evening, Mr. Barnaby.
Evening.
We just about given you up.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we'd arrived at the conclusion that you decided not to go through with our bargain.
Yeah, right, mister. I ain't going to do it.
Now, look
You're not
here.
serious, Mr. Barnaby.
Yes, ma'am.
But...
I ain't moving offshore.
But you agreed.
Wait a minute. Why have you changed your mind, Mr. Barnaby?
Yes, by Gulliver, why?
For the same reason that no other man in his right senses had put out to sea from the shore for more than 2 weeks.
Will you please tell us what in heaven's name is going on here? What's keeping the fishermen ashore?
Something out there in the ocean.
That's what everyone keeps saying. Something out there in the ocean. Can't you be more explicit?
Yes, just what is out there?
Well, I can't tell you.
What?
Except well, it's like nothing human eyes has ever seen before.
Half shrouded in the gathering fog, Lois Lane looks up into the fear-drawn face of the weather-beaten fisherman. But before she can speak, he has turned on his heel and vanished into the darkness. We'll return in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode in this new adventure of Superman. So keep listening.
Say, gang, about those comic buttons you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pet. It's about time now that you're getting all 18 characters in the series. Lots of kids have them all, and lots more only need, 1 or 2 buttons to round out the set. So don't you get left behind. Hop to it and finish off your collection. Because next week, I'm going to have something new to tell you. Something that'll, well, make a real hit with you. Of course, you don't want to miss out on a single one of these snappy pep comic buttons. You want Brenda Starr and Cindy and Vitamin Flintheart and Superman and all the rest. They're all so doggone smart-looking and bright-colored. They're such fun to collect, and they're so easy to get. Sure, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's one of these exciting prizes in every package of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, the crisp, tender whole wheat flakes with that catchy sunshine flavor. Makes mighty good eating. So crisp and fresh and toasty. Why, you want to pitch right in and eat hearty. And that's always a good idea at breakfast time. Yes, sir. Kellogg's Pep is mighty good for you. Mom knows that. So remind her to get plenty of P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
As we continue now, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, temporarily blocked in their efforts to uncover the mystery that hangs like a dark, fearful cloud over the Canadian fishing village of San Selmo, have just begun to walk dejectedly back toward their hotel. Suddenly, they are startled by a burly figure that slips silently out of a narrow alley between two buildings.
Evening, folks.
Oh, great Lucifer.
Sorry to make you heave to so sudden like.
That's all right.
Marble's my name. Captain Jonathan Marble.
How do you do?
I heard ye talking to Barnaby.
Oh?
I gathered he backwatered on a deal to take you offshore in his boat.
That's right.
And what, may I ask, is that to you, sir?
You really want to go out there and see what's keeping the fishing fleet tied up at the docks?
Yes, by Gulliver, we certainly do.
Would you take us out?
Aye, that I will. For $200 in advance.
200?
Captain Marble, you've got a deal.
Hold on. Before you set foot aboard my boat, it's only fitting that I warn you. You may never come back to shore alive.
Well, why do you say that?
Look, if going offshore is so dangerous, why are you so willing to take the chance?
My reasons, ma'am, is private. Do ye or don't you want to go?
No, I say we better wait.
We're not waiting for anything. Captain, where's your boat and how soon can we shove off?
It's tied up at the foot of this street.
Good.
I can be ready to sail 10 minutes after we get aboard. But remember my warning, because once we get underway, I ain't turning back.
I understand. Let's go.
Unwilling to be frightened by Captain Marble's ominous warning, Lois Lane takes Horatio Horn's arm and follows the burly fisherman down the dark street. What will happen? Will Lois and Horatio Horn learn what has tied up the North Banks fishing fleet? And if they do, at what cost to themselves? All we can tell you now is that Superman is soon forced into action. So don't miss a single episode in this new and thrilling Superman adventure, The Phantom of the Sea. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Say, gang, here's an easy question. What's the Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal? Why, Kellogg's Rice Krispies, of course. The only cereal so crisp it goes snap, crackle, and pop in milk. Whenever you see those famous little elves, Snap, Crackle, and Pop in the cartoons or on the Rice Krispies package, you think of how crisp these golden bubbles of oven-popped rice can be. And when you hear their song of crispiness in your cereal bowl, you know that you're in for some good eating. Yes, sir, it's the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Lois Lane comes face to face with the mystery of the sea, while Clark Kent, worried and concerned, is still forced by Editor Perry White to remain in Metropolis, although a sixth sense tells him that Lois and Horatio Horn are about to expose themselves to grave danger.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, nowadays, the theme is hurry, hurry, hurry. See if you can be the first in your crowd to collect all 18 of those exciting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. Get your collection complete before I bring you some exciting news next week. Why, think how proud you'd feel with all those bright-colored gleaming buttons pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. And if you were the first in your gang to have them all. So if you have a duplicate that you haven't traded yet, you better hop to it. And be sure to be on hand for the exciting moment when Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep. Maybe you'll get just the button that you need. You know, the Little Moose maybe, or Goofy, or Beezy, or Superman himself. Sure, that's how easy it is to get these Pep comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. And you can't buy them anywhere. They come only as prizes in packages of Kellogg's Pep. That's P-E-P, you know, the Sunshine Cereal. Pep's a dish that's just right for breakfast come springtime because it's so sunny and golden toasted and delicious. Why, that famous sunshine flavor is so doggone tantalizing, your spoon keeps digging in for more and more, and before you know it, your bowl's polished clean as a whistle. Mom likes that because Pep's so good for you. So ask her to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, the adventures of Superman. The cold and clammy fingers of fear seem to have fastened on the tiny fishing village of San Selmo on the Canadian Atlantic coast. Women and children speak in hushed voices behind drawn blinds, and strong men who fear nothing human move with suspicious caution along the village's fog-shrouded streets. At the docks, the sturdy fishing fleet lies desolate and deserted, for no boat will venture offshore so long as the deep, dark ocean contains what the villagers refer to as the Thing. In an effort to solve the mystery, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, an eccentric Daily Planet correspondent who fancies himself a detective, have come to San Selmo. Unable, however, to secure any information from the obviously terror-stricken natives, they engaged the services of Captain Jonathan Marble, a burly, gruff-speaking skipper, who agreed to take them to the offshore fishing grounds in his boat. But not before he warned.
It's only fair to tell ye that if we meet up with what's out there, ye may never come back to shore alive.
As we continue now, we join Lois and Horatio Horn aboard the Nancy Ruth, Captain Marble's diesel-powered fishing boat. A swirling gray fog is closing in over the choppy waters as the boat heads eastward toward the open sea. Listen.
Fog's getting thicker, isn't it, Captain Marble?
Aye.
Kind of, choppy, too, isn't it?
All right.
Look, Miss Lane, maybe we'd better...
If you're going to suggest turning back, Horatio, skip it. I wired the first installment of this story to the paper before we came aboard, and I'm staying aboard until we see what's out here, and that's final.
Remember Captain Marble's warning, Miss Lane?
I don't think he was serious. Were you, Captain?
Aye, I was. You may judge better for yourself when you lay eyes on the Thing.
Have you ever seen it?
Aye, that I have. And a fearful sight it is, too. One that makes strong men shudder with sudden weakness, and weaker men faint dead away.
You see, Miss Lane, it's no laughing matter.
Nobody's laughing, Horatio. But I'm certainly not going to let anything frighten me until I see it for myself and make certain that it is real.
Just be patient, ma'am. You'll see for yourself, and may the Lord protect you.
With Captain Marble's somber words echoing in their ears, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn shudder in the foggy darkness as the boat plows through the rough sea. Meanwhile, in Metropolis, Clark Kent is in the office of Editor Perry White, who has just received Lois's telegraphed story from San Selmo.
Well, I'll be...
What is it, Chief?
Great Caesar's ghost.
Oh, Chief, for Pete's sake.
Now, wait, Kent, wait. Let me finish this.
The way your eyes are bulging out of your head, I'd say Lois's first dispatch has you convinced she's really run into a story up there.
Yes, but... Oh, well, this just can't be.
Well, do you mind letting me read it so I know what you're talking about?
No. Here, read it.
Thanks.
Is it possible that people still fall for such superstitious tripe in the 20th century?
The entire local fishing industry is paralyzed by an unreasonable fear of some apparently frightening thing said to be seen at the North Fishing Banks about 3 miles offshore.
Now, does that make sense to you, Kent?
Wait a minute, Chief. Questioned by this reporter, natives refused to comment beyond the statement that there's something out there in the sea.
Of all the ridiculous rubbish.
I don't know about that, Chief.
Well, there certainly isn't anything supernatural.
Oh, of course not.
Then why all the fuss? I tell you, Lois and Horn are making up something out of nothing in order to justify that trip.
And I tell you, that's nonsense.
Then will you please explain what this is all about?
Well, I don't know, but it sounds as if...
As if what?
Well, you know how some people believe in legends.
Yes.
This may be the beginning of a superstitious legend.
All the more reason for ignoring it.
Oh.
We're running a newspaper, not a ghost story magazine.
On the other hand, Lois reports the entire village affected. That sounds like more than just a legend.
Oh, come now, Kent.
Oh, now, wait. I don't mean to imply that there actually is a supernatural monster in the sea off St. Selmo.
Then what do you mean?
I don't know exactly, Chief, but...
Don't tell me.
Well,
don't tell me. You've got another of your hunches.
That's right. I've got a feeling there's something important behind this mystery, something too big for Lois and Horatio Horn to handle alone.
And great, big, strong you wants to go up there and help them. Is that it?
Well...
Yeah, get it out of your head, Kent. You're staying here.
But, Chief, Lois is...
We'll find out just what's going on with Lois right now.
What are you doing?
Making a call to... Miss Backrack. Put through a call for Lois Lane at the Fisherman's Inn. Yeah, that's right. It's in St. Selmo, Canada. No, Selmo. Selmo. Yes, and hurry it up. I know, but this is an emergency.
Well, now, what do you expect to learn from talking with her?
Well, for one thing, I'll find out if her story's on the level. Then we'll see what we'll do about it.
Well,
until then, you stay put.
Once again prevented from following a hunch, Clark Kent, in reality Superman, is forced to fidget uneasily in Metropolis. While aboard Captain Marble's boat, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn move closer and closer to the mystery of the North Fishing Banks.
Haven't we been running more than half an hour, Horatio?
Let me see. Yes, Miss Lane. It's been exactly 55 minutes since we left the dock.
Do you think Captain Marble has lost his way in the fog?
I doubt it. There's quite a sea running. Chances are it held us back somewhat.
Oh. Horatio.
Yes, Miss Lane.
Do you... Well, that is... I mean... How do you feel about Captain Marble?
What do you mean?
Do you trust him? I mean, do you think that he...
Well, sharp, Nick.
What's that, Captain?
Look sharp now. We're coming on the fishing banks.
You mean this is where the thing is supposed to be?
Aye. It was in these waters it was last seen.
Hold my arm, will you, Horatio? I'm afraid of falling overboard.
Don't worry, Miss Lane. I'll hold on to you, by Gulliver. Captain Marble.
What do you want?
How are we going to see anything? In this fog, I mean.
It's beginning to lift.
He's right, Horatio, it is.
Do you see good enough? If there's anything to see.
Say, what's that out there dead ahead?
It looks like it looks like a couple of red light buoys.
No light buoys out here.
Well, then what could...
That's it! By heaven, that's it!
The thing?
Aye. Now do you believe me?
Great Lucifer, just look at the size of it.
Those huge, red glowing eyes.
Mark how it lashes the sea into foam.
Good heavens.
It's seen us.
What?
Look, it's coming toward us.
Keep out of it. So it is.
Swing the boat around. Swing it.
Hurry. It's going to ram into us.
As Captain Marble swings his boat in a dangerously sharp turn, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stare in terrified disbelief at what appears to be a huge red-eyed sea monster rushing toward them. What will happen now? We'll know more in a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Say, gang, don't get left behind. Don't let next week come around when I've got that exciting news for you, and you'd be left without having your collection of Kellogg's Pet comic buttons complete. That'd be a sad state of affairs. You better get busy this week and round out your series of all 18 different comic strip characters. Tess Trueheart and Spud and Judy and Corky and Superman and all the rest. Boy, are these Pet comic buttons something to talk about and to see, too. The pictures of your funny paper favorites are so lifelike, and the colors are so bright and clear that, well, you're mighty proud to wear 'em pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. It's a load of fun, too, collecting Pep comic buttons and swapping duplicates with your pals. So hop to it. Get your collection complete. Now, you don't have to send it any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy 'em anywhere. But you'll find your exclusive prize in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. That's the Sunshine cereal, whole wheat flakes that taste so catchy and golden at breakfast that, well, you want to eat hearty, which is always a good idea because Pep's a doggone good for you. Helps keep up your supply of good old Sunshine Vitamin D and Energy Vitamin B1. Yes, sir, Mom will be glad to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue now, Captain Marvel, disregarding the rough sea, is swinging his boat in a sharp U-turn in an effort to escape from what appears to be a huge red-eyed sea monster, bent on ramming the fishing craft. Standing in the stern with the ratio horn, Lois screams a warning as the boat heels over until its gunnels are almost underwater.
Captain Marvel, look out!
We're going to capsize.
Hang on, or you'll go overboard. There, we made it.
Oh, thank heaven!
But we're not safe yet, by Gulliver. That thing's coming lickety-split after us.
Oh, yes! Faster, Captain, faster!
Full speed ahead. Pour on the coal.
Throttle's wide open now.
Look, it's gaining on us!
Do something, Captain, for heaven's sake, do something.
Can't do nothing more than I'm doing. This is as fast as you go.
Good gracious!
Still gaining, is it?
Oh, yes, yes!
At the rate of a mile a minute.
We're doomed! We have to turn!
Here it comes. Brace yourself, Miss Lane.
Down on the deck. Down.
For a split second after the crushing impact, Captain Marvel's sturdy fishing boat makes a valiant effort to remain on its keel. Then, heeling over sharply, it capsizes, spilling its skipper and passengers, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, into the cold, dark waters of the North Atlantic. What is this thing that appears to be an angry, monstrous creature of the sea? And what will happen now to Lois and her two companions, while Superman, prevented by Perry White from following his hunch, is still in Metropolis, fretfully pacing the floor of White's office in his guise of Clark Kent? There are thrills and excitement ahead in Superman's adventure with the Phantom of the Sea, so don't miss a minute of it. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Snap, crackle, pop. What's that, gang? Why, it's the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package, and you know how they dish out those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice. So crisp, they snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk. That's their song of crispiness. Yes, sir, Kellogg's Rice Krispies are fun to listen to and fun to eat. So ask Mom to get you the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent as Superman finally reaches the scene of the mystery, but evidently too late.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. Say, just 3 more days, gang. Just today, tomorrow, and the next day left for me to be telling you about this series of exciting comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Next week, There'll be news for you, so you hop to it and get your collection of all 18 buttons complete. For instance, do you have Brenda Starr yet? Or Cindy, Spud, the Little Moose, and Goofy, and Beezy, and Superman? Actually, how close are you to having every single one in this series? Well, you won't want to miss out, because these Pep comic buttons are doggone good-looking. You want to wear them all pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap for everybody to see. And you'd hate to miss the fun of trading duplicates with your pals and comparing notes, too. Now, how you get these Pep comic buttons is important. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop, and you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to ask Mom to get you a good supply of Kellogg's Pep and look inside every package for your prize. And you'll find some mighty swell eating in a package of Pep, too. A breakfast dish with a sunny golden toasted flavor that's mighty satisfying on a spring morning. Every single whole wheat flake is crisp. Every spoonful gives your morning appetite a real lift. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Deciding to personally investigate a mysterious something in the sea that had paralyzed an entire fishing fleet with fear, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, eccentric Daily Planet correspondent, hired a boat owned and operated by a Captain Marble. Putting out from San Selmo, a tiny fishing village on the Canadian coast, their skipper took Lois and Horn to the North Banks fishing grounds, where, as the evening fog began to lift, they were horrified to see what appeared to be a gigantic sea monster. Churning the waters to foam, its bright red eyes glared balefully as it glided forward, bearing down on them with great speed and force. And before they could escape, it rammed and capsized their boat, then disappeared into the darkness. As we continue now, Clark Kent is making a vain attempt to reach Lois by telephone, as the girl reporter, together with Horatio Horn and Captain Marble, clings to the wreckage of the capsized boat. A stiff breeze lashes the sea into angry white-capped waves that pound at the shipwrecked trio as if trying to tear them loose from the upturned hull. Listen.
Horatio. Here I am, Miss Lane.
Are you all right?
As well as could be expected under the circumstances.
That's Captain Marble.
Here we are, Captain.
Come on over here and join us.
Well, this is a pretty kettle of fish.
Oh, please, Mr. Horn. No puns now.
Sorry. No pun intended.
Are you all right? Both of you?
If you mean no broken bones, yes.
But I don't know how long I can hold on.
You've got to hold on, Miss Lane. Maybe someone will come looking for us.
Not much chance of that, mister.
Why not, Captain? Somebody might have seen us go out.
Aye, but they won't come looking. Not out here.
You mean because of the
sea monster?
Aye. And now you've seen it with your own eyes. You know you can't blame them.
Yes, but we must do something. We can't just stay out here and drown.
From the way things is going, here we have much better to look forward to.
Well, why do you say that, Captain?
Because this hull won't stay afloat much longer.
I wish I'd listened to Mr. White and stayed home.
Well, why not wish for Superman while you're wishing?
I'd as well wish for the moon.
Don't be discouraged, Miss Lane. Remember, while there's life, there's hope.
While Horatio Horn tries valiantly to bolster up Lois Lane in the face of Captain Marble's glum forecast of doom, Clark Kent paces the floor in Perry White's office at the Daily Planet, where they are both waiting for a long-distance phone call to be put through to the girl reporter.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Kent, will you please stop pacing the floor?
I'm sorry, Chief, but I can't help being nervous.
Oh, sit down and relax. Wearing out my rug isn't going to help matters.
Why don't you practice what you preach?
Huh? What do you mean?
You're just as worried as I am.
All right, so I'm worried. Who wouldn't be? We've been waiting over an hour to get that call through to Lois in St. Selmo. Why in tarnation should it take so long?
I don't know. Maybe they can't locate her. Maybe she's out.
Oh, what would she be doing out at this hour of the night?
She could be following up a leak.
Well...
The phone.
I'll get it.
I got it. Hello? Yes, Miss Backrack. Did you... What? Still haven't located her.
Great Caesar.
Well, did they say when... Wait a minute. What's that? She went where? Never expect to see her again.
What's that?
Because what? Great Scott, are you sure?
Kent, for Pete's sake.
No, that won't be necessary. Thank you, Miss Backrack.
Oh, what's happened, Kent? What's the matter?
Lois and Horn hired a boat and went out to the fishing ground several hours ago to locate the sea monster.
Good heavens.
They haven't been seen or heard from since. From what the St. Selmo telephone operator told Miss Backrack, the villagers never expect to see them again.
That's impossible.
Well, maybe, but this time I'm going to follow my hunch to St. Selmo, so don't waste your breath trying to stop me.
Now thoroughly alarmed, Clark Kent rushes out of the startled editor's office and, locking himself in a storeroom, strips off his street clothes to stand revealed as Superman. Up with this window. Now, out and away! Rocketing up into the night sky, the Man of Steel darts eastward to the sea, then veers left and streaks along the North Atlantic coast toward Canada. In a few moments, he covers the vast distance from Metropolis and drops down behind the Fisherman's Inn in San Selmo. Then, swiftly resuming the guise and garb of the mild-mannered reporter, Clark Kent, he strides into the deserted lobby of the small hotel and approaches the elderly clerk who snores peacefully in a chair behind the desk.
Excuse me.
What's that?
I'm sorry to wake you, but I'd like to...
Oh, that's all right, young man. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a young lady, a newspaper reporter.
Reporter, you say?
Yes, her name is Lois Lane, and I understand she went out to the fishing grounds in a hired boat. Do you happen to know if that's true?
As far as I know, it is. And if it is true, don't ever expect to see her again. Alive, that is.
Why do you say that?
'Cause there's something out there, that's why. And if she and Mr. Horn, that feller with her, if when they saw it, they're plumb goners.
Now, look, can you give me any idea whose boat she hired?
Well, I hear to make a deal with Ike Barnaby to take him out.
Tell me where this man Barnaby lives?
Yep, but it won't do any good.
Why not?
'Cause if he took him out, he don't live there no more.
Please tell me where to find his place.
Just as you say. Ike's shack is down at the foot of the next street, alongside his mooring dock.
Thanks very much. Good night.
I told him I wouldn't take no chance of running into that thing living out there in the sea for 10 times what they offered. And I warned them to stay away from it. But they wouldn't pay me no mind.
Who did take them out, Mr. Barnaby?
Jonathan Marble. Now they're done for. 3 of them.
What makes you so sure?
'Cause the run shouldn't take more than an hour. Hour and a half both ways, especially in Marble's Nancy Ruth. She's a fast 48-footer with diesel power. They've been gone now more than 3 hours.
This looks more than ever like a job for Superman.
How's that, Mr. Kent?
I was just thinking out loud. Look, Mr. Barnaby, could you tell me just where on the fishing grounds this thing you speak of is said to be found?
You're not thinking of going out there to look for him?
I might.
Who'd be fool enough to take you out? Even let you hire a boat?
Don't you worry about that. I'll manage it all right. Just give me the course.
You're asking for it, so here it is. Go straight out from the docks to the last bell buoy. Keep it on your starboard. Bear 3 points east-northeast for 2 miles. It'll run you smack dab into it.
Much obliged, Mr. Barnaby. Good night.
Good night. And heaven help you.
Leaving the puzzled fisherman shaking his head sadly, Clark Kent ducks behind a darkened shack and once again resumes his true identity of Superman. And a moment later, he takes to the sky in search of his friends. Will he find them? We'll know more in a moment when we return for the climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Say, my young friends tell me it's more exciting than ever these days collecting those nifty comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep, because they're all mighty close to having all 18 buttons in the series, and they can hardly wait for the exciting news that I've been promising for next week. Think of it. Won't you feel like strutting around when you can sport Vitamin Flintheart and Beezy and Superman and all the other 18 different comic buttons on your jacket or your dress or cap? And think of the fun in rounding out your collection and trading duplicates with your pals and looking for a new button every time Mom opens a new package of Pep. That's how simple it is to get these Pep comic buttons, you know. You don't have to spend a single penny of your allowance. Don't even send in a buck stop. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere. But you get a comic button, an exclusive prize, every time you open a new package of Kellogg's Pep. That's Pep, the Sunshine cereal, the good whole wheat flakes with a catchy sunshine flavor. So crisp and tender and fresh that, well, it makes you glad when breakfast time rolls around. Why, Pep tastes so doggone toasty and golden, your appetite wakes right up on a spring morning. So, gang, get your prizes and the good eating in P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to the adventures of Superman. As Superman takes off in an effort to find them, Lois Lane, Horatio Horn, and Captain Marvel are still floundering in the angry waters of the cold North Atlantic. Cramped and nearly frozen, they cling for dear life to the fast-sinking hull of their capsized boat.
Only a few minutes left before this hull goes under.
Oh, that's a happy thought, Captain.
Quick, let go and swim away from this hull. Fast as you can.
Oh.
She's going under.
Who can swim? I can't move a muscle.
I'll help you, Miss Lane.
All right. Now, push away with your legs. Go! Well, there goes the Nancy Root. Best motor ever owned. Swim fast, or the suction will drag you under.
Clinging desperately with numbed fingers to the bits of wood torn from the wreckage, Lois Lane, Horatio Horn, and Captain Marvel continue to drift farther and farther eastward into the vast Atlantic Ocean. Meanwhile, Superman has arrived at the spot where they first capsized, and, hovering in midair, vainly scans the angry white-capped waters.
This is where Barnaby said they went. But they're not here now. Where can they be? I must find them, I must. Away!
Unaware that the tide has carried his friends out to sea, Superman continues his search of the area, his keen eyes scanning the dark waters as he skims low. How will Superman find the shipwrecked trio? And will it be in time to save them all from serious injury or worse? Perhaps he may even run into the so-called sea monster. Now that Superman has gone into action, there's excitement ahead in this mysterious story of the Phantom of the Sea. So don't miss the next episode. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, do you know the only cereal that goes snap, crackle, and pop when you pour on milk? Kellogg's Rice Krispies. Sure, you've seen those famous little elves snap, crackle, and pop in cartoons and on the Rice Krispies package. And you've heard those golden bubbles of oven-popped rice sing out at breakfast time. That means that they're crisp. Crisp as crisp can be. Have yourself a bowlful tomorrow morning. Ask Mom for the one and only Snap, Crackle, and Pop cereal, Kellogg's Rice Krispies. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, after rescuing 3 people from almost certain death, Superman sets out to prove that the mysterious creature of the North Fishing Banks is not a supernatural monster of the deep.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, gang, I've been hinting at some big news that I'm going to have for you on Monday. I'm awful sorry I can't tell you about it right now, but Monday's the day. But I will tell you this. You're going to be mighty glad when you hear what it is if you've finished off your collection of comic buttons in that new series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir. You're going to wish that you had all 18 of those comic strip characters pinned on your jacket or your dress or your cap. Vitamin Flintheart and the Spud and Superman and all the rest. Boy, you'd hate to miss out on a single one of those nifty comic buttons, wouldn't you? They're so bright-colored and smart-looking. The pictures show up so clear and sharp against that gleaming white background. And these exciting comic buttons are so easy to get. All you do is to ask Mom to get you a good supply of Kellogg's Pep and look for your prize inside every package you open. And you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere, but you get one, plus loads of good eating in every package of Kellogg's Pep, the whole wheat flakes with that catchy golden toasted flavor that always tastes like more. Pep's good for you, too. Sure, it has extra amounts of vitamins B1 and D. So remember, gang, complete your collection of comic buttons from P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. A strange and fearful sea monster reported seen in the waters of the North Fishing Banks has terrified the natives of St. Selmo, a village on the Canadian North Atlantic coast, and put a sudden stop to the local fishing industry. On the trail of a front-page story, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, an eccentric Daily Planet correspondent, hired a boat skippered by Captain Marvel, a fearless fisherman, and went out to the fishing grounds, hoping to prove that the monster was either a product of frightened imaginations or perhaps a harmless whale. Instead, they saw what appeared to be an enormous red-eyed creature who rammed into their boat and sank it, spilling them into the cold, dark ocean. As we continue now, Superman, worried by Lois's disappearance, is frantically searching for her, while she, Horatio Horn, and Captain Marvel, clinging with cramped, frozen arms to pieces of wreckage, barely manage to keep afloat in the swift current that carries them further and further out into the open sea. Listen.
Horatio, what happened to Captain Marvel?
He's unconscious, Miss Lane.
Oh, no.
Yes. How cold. A piece of driftwood struck him on the head. I'm hanging on to him, though.
Poor fellow. Maybe he's better off that way, though.
What do you mean?
Oh, let's face it, Horatio. We'll never be found.
You mustn't give up.
What's the use? It only prolongs the agony.
No, remember, while there's life, there's hope.
Oh, no hope left anymore.
Look. What's that?
What, Horatio?
Looks like a bird skimming the water.
Well, what of it?
Great Lucifer. Can it be?
What?
Yes, I think it is.
Is what?
Miss Lane, we're saved. We're saved.
Good heavens! It's Superman!
In person.
Superman!
Just in time, too, from the look of things.
You can say that again, by Gulliver.
Oh, I must be dreaming.
Not at all, Lois. You'll be all right now. None of this harm with you. There.
Captain Marvel.
I've got him. Now you, Mr. Horn.
Superman, how did you know? How did you ever find
Never mind the questions now. You're all in bad shape. So here we go back to St. Selmo. Up and away! Sure they don't need hospitalization, Doctor?
Quite sure, Mr. Kent. They're just suffering from shock and exposure.
Good.
Nothing that warmth and rest won't take care of.
That's fine. Oh, what about Captain Marvel?
He's got a nasty head cut. Took 4 stitches.
Uh-oh.
But he's asleep now and resting comfortably.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
And that's what you should be doing, Miss Lane, and you too, Mr. Horn.
You're right, Doctor.
Now, Mr. Kent, if you'll help Mr. Horn to his...
Oh, no, just 1 minute, please. There are some things I must know before I go to sleep.
Lois, you heard what the doctor said.
I've got to know how you got here tonight, Clark, and how Superman ever found us.
That can wait, Lois.
Maybe you'd better tell her, Mr. Kent. She'll rest easier.
And so will I, by Gulliver.
Well, go on. I'll give you 5 minutes to talk while I have a look at Captain.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Here it is. The Chief and I were worried about you two, particularly when we tried to get you on the long-distance phone and were told that you had gone out to investigate that mysterious thing in the ocean.
So you contacted Superman, and he brought you out with him, and then went off to look for us.
Well, yes. That's about it.
And a lucky thing it was for us.
Oh, and how? Oh, Clark, you should have seen that monster. It was terrifying.
It must have been 200 feet long, with a huge lashing tail.
And enormous eyes like big red spotlights. Oh, it makes me shudder just to think of it.
I shouldn't wonder, but what is it?
We don't know.
Well, either it's supernatural
Now,
or...
don't talk nonsense, Horatio. You know as well as I do there are no supernatural monsters.
Of course not, Horatio.
But, Mr. Kent, I tell you
You're just letting your imagination run away with you.
But I saw it. So did Miss Lane. Didn't you, Miss Lane?
Yes, Horatio, but I don't think it was supernatural.
Of course not. Probably a whale or a shark.
200 feet long with red eyes?
Are you sure it was 200 feet long?
At least.
No imagination plays strange tricks.
Oh, this wasn't imagination, Clark. We saw something.
Yes, and something wrecked Captain Marble's boat.
Well, there's no sense arguing about it. One thing, however, is certain. If it overturned a boat, it's either a creature of flesh and blood or...
Or what?
Well, I'd rather not say until I'm sure.
Time's up, Mr. Kent. No, my patients must get some rest.
Right, Doctor. Come on, Horatio. I'll help you back up to your room. See you in the morning, Lois.
Good night, Miss Lane.
After seeing the weakened Horatio Horn safely to his room, Clark Kent, his brow furrowed in deep thought, walks out of the Fisherman's Inn and strolls slowly through the darkened main street of the sleeping village toward the nearby docks. There he pauses, and his eyes range over the fleet of deserted fishing boats made idle by superstitious fear.
50 boats moored to their docks at the height of the fishing season. There's more to this than just imagination. I think getting to the bottom of it is a job
For Superman.
Yeah. Off with these clothes. All I want is just one look at that so-called monster. Just one. There we are, all set. Now for a quick trip offshore. Up and away!
Rocketing into the sky, Superman streaks away over the dark ocean and is soon lost to sight. Meanwhile, back at the inn, Lois Lane, still nervous and unable to fall asleep, is standing at the window of her room looking out at the beach. The sky is cloudless now, and a brilliant half-moon bathes the white sand and the black water in an eerie glow. Suddenly, Lois stiffens. The fingers of her right hand clutch at her throat. Her mouth gapes open, and her bulging eyes become bright with terror. Then, without warning, she tears out of her room, and dashing across the corridor, pounds like mad on Horatio Horn's door.
Horatio! Horatio! Horatio, wake up! Hurry! For heaven's sake, hurry!
All right, just a minute. What's the matter, Miss Lane?
Horatio, come into my room.
Is something wrong?
You'll see in a minute. Come on, Horatio. There. Look out the window.
Great Lucifer. The monster just off the beach.
Yes. And Horatio, look. He seems to be coming closer and closer to the beach.
Terror-stricken, Lois and Horatio Horn watched the two flaming red eyes of the mysterious sea monster move closer and closer to the white sand of the beach. Does the strange creature, whatever it is, plan to leave the water and invade the land? We'll know in a moment, so keep listening.
Say, from what I've seen around our neighborhood, I guess that most all the kids have collected most of those 18 comic buttons in this series from packages of Kellogg's Pep. And a good thing it is, too. They'll be ready for that exciting news that I've promised you on Monday. Yes, sir, there's a real flurry of trading duplicates nowadays and comparing notes on how many Pep comic buttons everybody's collected. And say, I notice that there's still plenty of excitement when a new comic strip character shows up, like Cindy or Chief Brandon or Superman himself. It's no wonder, because these Pep comic buttons are just about the best-looking things you ever saw. You won't want to miss out on a single one, and you don't have to either. No, sir, you just ask Mom to get you a good supply of Kellogg's Pep. Now, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy these prizes anywhere. But you'll find one in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And believe me, gang, you'll like these toasted flakes of good whole wheat with their catchy sunshine flavor. You'll want to eat a bowl of Pep for breakfast every single morning. So ask Mom to keep you supplied with plenty of P-E-P, the sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And remember, too, there's going to be big news on Monday, so be sure to listen.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. With Superman far offshore searching for the mysterious sea monster, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn saw the strange, fantastic creature wallowing in the water less than 50 yards off the beach in front of the inn at which they are staying. As we continue now, Lois and Horatio are moving quietly across the beach toward the water's edge, clutching each other's hands.
I don't see its red eyes anymore, Horatio.
Neither do I, but there's something black in the water. Miss Lane, we'd better not go down there alone. Let's go
You
back.
know as well as I do that no one in this village would go within a mile of the monster.
But What if it leaps out of the water and attacks us?
That's a chance we'll just have to take, Horatio.
What about Mr. Kent? Why can't we get him?
Oh, he's worse than useless. Now stop trembling.
I can't help it.
Look,
Every nerve
look,
in my
Horatio.
What?
In the water. The two red eyes.
He's coming for us.
No, he's backing away. Look at his body. It's sinking. He's going under.
Great Lucifer.
Now he's gone.
Oh, thank heavens.
Wait a minute.
What?
There's something else down there.
Where?
See it? Half out of the water.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Come on, Horatio.
Miss Lane, don't be foolhardy.
I feel perfectly safe so long as I'm with you, Horatio.
Oh, I wish I felt that way.
All right, now this is far enough. Now, go on, shine your flashlight on it.
Okay.
There. The light is directly on it. See?
Wait, it's a capsized boat, a fishing boat.
Wait a minute. Horatio.
What?
Look at the name on that stern.
The name? The Nancy Ruth. Great Lucifer. It's Captain Marble's boat.
The boat we saw sink 3 miles offshore.
Now, that proves it. That proves it, Miss Lane.
What does it prove?
Well, we saw that boat sink in 50 feet of water less than 2 hours ago.
Yes?
Now, no living thing could have raised it from the bottom of the ocean and brought it into shore. So that means the monster must be supernatural.
Is Horatio Horn right? If he isn't, how else could Captain Marble's 5-ton fishing boat be raised from the deep and carried 3 miles to the beach? The mystery is becoming more mysterious by the moment. Is the strange thing with glowing red eyes a monster of the sea or a creature of the unknown? You can be sure Superman will find out. But before he does, there are thrills and excitement in this story we call The Phantom of the Sea. So don't miss a single episode. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, now that the weather's fine and the birds are back, how's about starting your collection of full-color bird pictures that come one in every package of Kellogg's Crumbles? Sure, you'll learn to identify all 24 in the series, like the Oriole and the Scarlet Tanager. And you can trade duplicates with your friends, too, and look on the side of every Crumbles package for instructions on sending in to get the colorful album so you can paste in your collection. Tell Mom that you want Crumbles, the only cereal made in crinkly shreds of good whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Clark Kent, accompanied by Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, has his first encounter with the mysterious sea monster of St. Selmo, with disastrous results.
Hello there, gang. This is your pal Dan McCullough. You know, I'm not one to be handing out advice, but I'd like to make a suggestion. I suggest that you get busy on the double quick and round out your collection of comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because, well, there'll be exciting news for you on Monday. Meanwhile, be sure to be on hand when Mom opens a new package of Pep and gets your new comic button. If it's a duplicate, all the better, because then you can have the fun of trading with your pals and maybe get just the one to complete your collection of all 18 buttons in this series. Maybe a Beezy or Goofy or Superman himself. So remind Mom to get you a package or two of Kellogg's Pep. Now, you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. All you do is to look inside your package of Pep for your prizes. And Pep's a prize when it comes to good eating, too. It tastes a doggone sunny and golden. It's as cheerful as bright golden sunshine at the breakfast table. While your very first spoonful of those toasted whole wheat flakes tells you that this is going to be good. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And be sure to be on hand next Monday to get the lowdown on that exciting big news that I've been telling you about. It's terrific.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Investigating what frightened local fishermen believed to be a supernatural sea monster in the Canadian North Atlantic off the village of St. Selmo, Lois Lane and the eccentric Daily Planet correspondent Horatio Horn came face to face with what appeared to be the monster itself. Almost drowned when their boat was capsized and sent to the bottom, Lois, Horatio, and Captain Marble, owner of their hired fishing craft, were rescued by Superman. Later, while Superman flew out over the ocean to look for the so-called monster, Lois and Horatio saw it, not more than 50 yards from the St. Selmo beach. But before they could get close to it, it dove beneath the surface and disappeared. It was then, however, that Lois saw the capsized hull of Captain Marble's boat half drawn up on the beach. At the sight of it, Horatio Horn turned pale.
That proves it, Miss Lane. We saw that boat sink in 50 feet of water 3 miles offshore. Nothing human could have raised it from the bottom of the ocean and brought it here. So the monster must be supernatural.
The following morning, nearly all the residents of St. Selmo turned out to see the beached wreck of Captain Marble's boat. And as we continue now, we find them standing at a respectful distance while they stare at it in awed silence. Lois and Horatio Horn, dressed in waist-high boots, have waded into the surf for a closer examination of the boat. Listen.
But I tell you, Miss Lane, the monster must have brought the boat here.
Oh, nonsense.
And how else could it get here 2 hours after we saw it sink to the bottom of the ocean?
The tide probably washed it in.
Impossible. In theory as well as in fact.
What makes you so sure of that, Horatio?
A simple deduction, Miss Lane. A very simple deduction.
Okay, Mr. Detective School graduate. Why couldn't the tide have carried it in?
Because from the time we saw Captain Marble's boat sink last night to the time we found it here, the tide was going out.
How do you know that, Horatio?
I checked it this morning. Matter of fact, that man who's wading out toward us right now will, I am sure, confirm that fact. He's a local fisherman.
He looks familiar. Isn't he?
Yes, it's Mr. Barnaby.
That's right. The man who first agreed to take us out in his boat for a look at that thing.
And then mysteriously backed out at the 11th hour.
I wonder what he wants now.
We'll know in a moment.
I come out here to warn your boat to go on back where you come from. Stop fooling with whatever done this.
Now, look here, my
Wait
good
a minute,
man.
Horatio. Mr. Barnaby, our only interest is to help you people of St. Selmo.
We don't want none of your help.
Well, of all the unmitted...
You heard what I said. I say it for all of us fisher folk. Get out of town. Stay out.
Just one question, Mr. Barnaby. Why are you and the other fishermen so willing to accept defeat without a fight?
Yes, I always thought people like you were brave and fearless.
No living man can be brave in the face of the devil himself.
Oh, nonsense. Do you think the devil rammed the boat and capsized it?
Well, maybe not the devil himself. But it sure was one of his monsters.
What makes you say that?
I come out here at dawn this morning. I looked over the hull, and I found the marks of his teeth.
What?
Aye, teeth marks that must have been made when the monster carried the boat inshore in its jaws.
Oh, that's impossible.
Would you show us those teeth marks, Mr. Barnaby?
Aye. They're over here in the lee side.
Come on, Miss Lane. This should be interesting.
It certainly should. Oh, good heavens.
What's the matter, Miss Lane?
There's Clark Kent on the beach.
Oh, so it is.
I forgot all about him in the excitement. He must be worried. We're supposed to be under doctor's care, you know,
Well, he
Horatio.
can see that we're all right.
Well, I'd better go ashore and reassure him.
Oh, very well. I'll have a look at what Mr. Barnaby calls the monster's teeth marks.
Okay, I'll see you later. Be right with you, Clark.
So, Mr. Barnaby suggests we leave St. Selmo, huh?
Suggests is hardly the word, Clark. He practically ordered us out of town.
I see.
He insists that the monster carried the wreck of Captain Marble's boat in its mouth and placed it out there in shallow water. And right now he's showing Horatio what he calls the creature's teeth marks to prove it.
Oh, ridiculous.
Of course it's ridiculous. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry we didn't call you last night when I saw the so-called monster offshore.
Oh, that's all right. I wasn't here anyway. I'd gone out to the fishing banks to have a look around.
I see.
Of course, I didn't see the monster since all
Wait
the
a
time was
minute.
right off.
How could you get out there?
How?
Yes.
Oh, well, well, skip it for now. I'll explain some other time. The important...
Oh, no, you don't. You explain right now,
Look,
Clark.
Lois, I think before we do anything else, we should speak to the mayor of St. Selmo and see if we can't get some official cooperation.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Let's leave Horatio out there to make use of his correspondence detective school education.
He'll love that.
And you come with me to the mayor's office. I've got an appointment with him at the town hall in 10 minutes.
Good. Let's go.
Of course, Mr. Kent. I've already communicated with the Coast Guard.
Oh, fine.
But they treat the matter lightly, as though it were a practical joke.
You mean they don't believe you?
Well, that's what it amounts to, Miss Lane.
Did they refuse to help you?
Well, after a while, when I persisted, they promised to send a patrol boat tomorrow or perhaps day after tomorrow.
Good heavens,
That's too indefinite. Look, Mr. Mayor, if you'll help me, I think I can clear up this mystery.
What can I, a single individual and a mortal man, do to help?
Well, first you must do everything you can to convince your people they have nothing to fear. Tell them that the thing they call a monster is not supernatural, but something for which there must be a reasonable explanation.
If only I was certain.
You get me a boat and I'll prove it.
A boat, Mr. Kent?
Yes, I've discovered, and don't ask me how, that whatever it is doesn't appear unless a boat enters the waters of the fishing banks. So I want to go out there in a boat.
But no one will take you, Mr. Kent. Everyone's afraid.
No one has to take me. All I want is a boat. I'll run it myself. Now, can you arrange that for me?
I'll do my utmost, Mr. Kent. Contact me again in a few hours. It may take some time.
Very well, I'll be in touch with you. Come on, Lois. Now, don't you worry about your boat, Mr. Barnaby. I know how to handle it all right.
But you don't know these waters, Mr. Kent. There'll be fog tonight.
I'll manage. And if I should have an accident, you'll be paid for the boat.
Aye. But who's going to pay for your life?
Why are you so sure I'm going to lose my life, Mr. Barnaby?
Because I know better than you what you're running into. A monster wrecked Jonathan Marble's boat last night. All but killed him and them 2 passengers of his. Maybe you won't be so lucky.
I'll take the chance.
Well, it's your life. But don't say I didn't warn you.
I won't. Cast off, please.
So, Clark, you thought you could run away without Horatio and me,
Had no idea we were hiding in the cabin, did you?
You can bet your shirt you wouldn't be here if I'd thought to look. I told you I wanted to go alone.
And I told you, Mr. Lone Wolf, that this is the one time you weren't going to get away with snatching a scoop away from me in your usual high-handed manner.
No, sir, not this time.
I wasn't interested in snatching your scoop.
Now,
It was just the danger to you that concerned me.
Well, it's just as dangerous for you, isn't it?
Oh, what's the use? You're here, so I'm stuck with you. Now, make yourself useful by keeping your eyes peeled for that monster.
We'll be back in just a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Say, gang, this is the very last time I'll be talking to you about the series of comic buttons you're all collecting from packages of Kellogg's Pep. So I hope that your collection is all complete, or almost complete at least. You see, in our neighborhood, a lot of the fellows and girls have all 18 buttons in the series, and a lot more have all but one. So I hope that you're that far along, too, because come Monday, I'm going to have some doggone exciting news for you, something that you won't want to miss. So pitch in and round out your collection of Pep comic buttons. Don't miss out on a single one. Get Pat Patton and Brenda Starr and Superman and all the others. Just make sure that Mom stocks up on Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these exciting prizes. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you'll find a comic button in every package of Pep you open. That's Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Pep, the whole wheat flakes, with that come-on flavor for breakfast, so golden toasted and crisp that, well, you practically can't resist it. Yes, sir, a bowl of Pep is a swell start for a spring day. So ask Mom to get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. And remember, tune in Monday for the big news I'll have for you.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue now, the cabin cruiser with Clark Kent at the helm is plowing through the Canadian North Atlantic waters. Night has fallen, and a light fog hangs low over the vast ocean whose blackness is broken only by a whitish foam that caps the angry waves. Standing near Kent, her drawn face reflecting an inner battle with fear, Lois Lane tensely grips the rail, while Horatio Horn, with night glasses pressed against his eyes, scans the waters for a sign of the monster.
Any sign of him, Horatio?
Not yet, Miss Lane.
Lois, Horatio, look over there to the right.
I see a red light. No, two red lights.
Right, Gulliver, it's the monster.
I thought so. All right, hang on. I'm swinging over to get closer.
For heaven's sake, Clark, not too close.
Stand by to swing hard and run for it, Kent. He'll probably come for us as soon as he sees us.
Okay, just a little closer. This fog is so heavy I can hardly...
Clark, look!
Great Jehoshaphat! He's breathing fire!
You're right. The stream of it, like a flamethrower.
He's aiming the stream at us.
She's right, Kent. Swing around fast.
Oh, it's too late. Can't get away fast enough. What
The
the...
liquid flame! It hit us!
We're on fire!
Great Scott!
Do something, Clark! For heaven's sake, do something!
Once again, the phantom monster of St. Selmo has struck. And this time, in endangering the lives of Superman's friends, it has placed the Man of Steel in a position where it appears that he can do nothing to help them, without at last revealing the secret of his true identity. Will Clark Kent be able to save both Lois Lane and Horatio Horn without giving himself away? And will he, at the same time, discover the secret of the monster? Monday's episode in this exciting story of the Phantom of the Sea is fast and thrill-packed, so don't miss a minute of it. Be sure to tune in again Monday. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, when you see a cardinal or a hummingbird, can you identify it? Well, you can if you're collecting the full-color bird pictures that come, one in every package, of Kellogg's Crumbles. You'll get a kick out of swapping duplicates with your friends and collecting all 24 pictures in the series. Get yourself the colorful album, too, to paste in your collection. Full instructions for sending in are on the side of every Crumbles package. That's Crumbles, those crinkly, sort of sweet and mellow-rich shreds of good whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman.
Here's what you've been waiting for, gang. That big news I promised you. And is it exciting? Well, it'll make you want to cheer. Now listen, you've been collecting those nifty comic buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pep. You probably got a lot of them right now, pinned on your jacket or your dress or cap. Well, those Pep comic buttons have been so doggone popular, you fellas and girls get such a kick out of collecting them, that Kellogg's Pep now has a brand new series for you. Yes, sir, 18 new and different comic buttons to collect and to swap duplicates with your pals. For example, among others, there's Mallwinkle and Mr. Bibbs and Denny Dimwit and the Winnie Winkle twins and Daisy and B.O. Plenty and Gravel Gertie, Flat Top Wilmer and Superman, of course. Boy, wouldn't you like to get all 18 of these brand new Pep comic buttons? Well, you can, sure, easy as anything. You just remind Mom to get you a package of that Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. That's all. Just look inside the Pep package and see which button you get. Now, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy these comic buttons anywhere. But you get a really terrific prize, plus a catchy sunny dish for breakfast in every package of that Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Ask Mom for P-E-P, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. A mysterious red-eyed creature believed to be a supernatural sea monster is holding the tiny Canadian coastal village of St. Selmo in the grip of fear and has completely paralyzed the local fishing industry. Investigating the story for the Daily Planet, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, a part-time journalist and amateur detective, almost lost their lives when the strange creature rammed and sank the boat they had engaged to to take them to the fishing grounds. But Superman saved them. Then, resuming his guise of Clark Kent, decided to look into the mystery himself. Hiring a boat, he went out to the fishing banks with Lois and Horatio. And when they reached the water supposedly frequented by the monster, they saw its red eyes piercing the fog-drenched darkness. A moment later, a stream of liquid flame shot from its mouth, struck the boat and set it afire. As we continue now, the boat is burning like a huge torch. Listen.
For heaven's sake, Clark, don't just stand there. Do something.
We've got to put this fire out.
We can't. It's too late.
No. Here's a fire extinguisher.
Use it, Horatio. Hurry.
Don't bother. It's a waste of time.
Hey, what'll we do?
Abandon ship.
Oh, no.
Mr. Kent, if we...
Don't argue. Any minute now the fire will reach the gas tanks. We've got to get off this boat.
But he's right, Miss Lane. Come on, jump off the stern.
No, wait a minute.
Jump.
I still think we should try to put the fire out.
Don't be stubborn, Lois. Do as I say, will you?
What about you, Mr. Kent?
I'm right with you. Ready, set, jump! Well, there goes the gas tank.
Good heavens.
We didn't get off a moment too soon, by Gulliver.
No, we certainly didn't.
Look, the boat is sinking.
The cloud of steam.
Yeah, well, that's that.
Yes. And here we are, Miss Lane and I, right back where we were last night.
But this time we may not be as lucky as we were then.
Well, if you'd listen to me, you'd be safe and dry back in St. Selmo. And this might not have happened.
We had nothing to do with starting the fire.
Certainly not. The monster did it.
I know, but I would have solved the mystery of the monster by this time. Now, with you here, I can't even go look for it.
What do you mean by that?
What would you do? Swim around looking for it?
Never mind. Skip it. Our big problem now is getting back to shore.
If you're thinking of trying to swim for it, you can forget it because I've got all I can do to stay afloat.
Same goes for me.
Our only chance is Superman. If he'll only find us again.
Well, there's not much chance of that.
No telling. Superman shows up when he's least expected.
Oh, the water is so cold. I've got cramps in both my legs.
Well, hang on to me, Miss Lane, and rest a while.
I'll be right back.
Clark! Where are you going?
Come back, Mr. Kent. Kent, come back.
Maybe I can find a piece of wreckage for us to hang on to.
No! Come back, Clark!
This should be far enough. They can't see me now in this darkness and fog, so it's safe to assume my real identity as Superman. Too bad I haven't time to track down that thing they call a sea monster. But he'll keep until I get Lois and Horatio back to shore. There we are. All set. Now, up and over to them. Up!
Superman! No, he can't be.
Certainly is, Mr. Horn. Here, grab hold of my arm.
Oh, I don't know how happy we ought to see you again.
What's the matter with you two? Must you go swimming at night?
Well, not exactly. You see, we came out here with...
Clark Kent. Oh, Superman. Clark is out here someplace.
Don't worry about him. He's safe enough. Hang on now. Here we go back to St. Selmo. Up and away!
Miss Lane. Miss Lane.
Who is it?
Me, Horatio Horn. Are you dressed?
Just a minute, Horatio.
All right. Miss Lane, have you heard from Mr. Kent?
Come in, Horatio.
Oh, thank you. Shall I leave the door open?
Yes. Clark will probably be coming along any minute now.
Oh, then you have heard from him.
Why, no, but Superman said he was here.
Well, he may be somewhere in St. Selmo, but he's not here at the inn.
How do you know?
Well, as soon as I took a hot bath and changed into dry clothes, I went to his room, and he wasn't there.
Well, he may have stepped out for just a minute.
That's what I thought, until I checked with the clerk. He said he hadn't seen Mr. Kent since early this afternoon.
Well, that's odd.
I don't want to worry you, Miss Lane, but...
May I join you?
Mr. Kent!
Why, Clark, where in the world have you been?
Round and about. Don't tell me you were worried.
Well, the last we saw of you, you were swimming off into the darkness out there on the fishing bank.
Yes, and when Superman picked us up, he said he'd brought you back here.
Well?
Oh, now stop being so smug, Clark. Where were you and what have you been up to?
Oh, I was just doing a little snooping, that's all.
Snooping?
Uh-huh. You haven't forgotten about the red-eyed monster, have you?
I should say not.
Oh, incidentally, now that you've seen it, Mr. Kent, do you still think it's a whale or a shark?
No, Horatio, it definitely is not.
Do you think it's a creature of flesh and blood? A giant sea serpent, perhaps?
No, I do not.
And it must be something out of this world, something supernatural.
I'm certain it isn't that either.
Then what is it, Clark?
Well, I have a faint suspicion. And just as soon as I...
As soon as you what?
Quiet, Louis.
Well, what's the matter?
There's someone in the corridor, outside the door.
How do you know?
I'll show you. Stand back. I'll open the door.
It's Mr. Barnaby.
What's the matter, Mr. Barnaby? You look as if you'd seen a ghost.
I couldn't believe it when they told me you was here, alive.
Well, we are, by Gulliver. Thanks
Wait
to...
a minute, Horatio. Tell me, Mr. Barnaby, why are you so surprised to see us alive?
I figured the monster.
Yes?
It don't matter. Long as you come through it safe. Sorry I bothered you. Good night.
Oh, wait. Don't go yet, Mr. Barnaby. Aren't you interested in your boat? Don't you want to know where it is?
She's wrecked, ain't she?
How did you know?
She is, ain't she?
I repeat, how did you know?
Never mind. You gotta pay for her. If you take my advice, you'll stop meddling with things that ain't none of your concern.
Oh?
I'll be expecting the money for my boat by morning. Good night.
Good night.
My, isn't he sweet?
Well, if you ask me, he's off his nut.
I wish I could agree with you, Horatio, but I'm afraid Mr. Barnaby is a lot smarter than we think.
What makes you say that, Clark?
Because I believe... Well, never mind. That can wait.
Huh?
Now, look here, Clark Kent. That's the second time tonight that you've started to say something and then stopped.
It is?
Yes, it is. When you heard Barnaby outside the door, you were just about to tell us that you discovered something about the monster.
Yes, you said you had a faint suspicion.
Oh, I have more than that. Matter of fact, I may have the clue to the mystery.
What is it?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Either you have a clue or you haven't.
Relax, Lois. Don't chop my head off.
Oh, now, really, Clark, you make me furious.
Why?
To begin with, this was my exclusive story until you horned into it.
Oh, come on, Lois. Act your age.
Suppose you act yours and stop beating around the bush. If you know anything, let's have it.
Well, I don't know anything yet, but I hope to before morning.
And how, may I ask?
Look. See this bottle?
Yes, what about it?
It contains a sample of the water in which the so-called monster has been seen.
Say that again?
I said it contains a sample of the ocean water in the vicinity of the fishing banks where the monster has been most frequently seen.
What do you think that's going to tell you?
Everything or nothing.
I must confess, Mr. Kent, I don't quite understand.
You're not alone, Horatio. No one understands except Mr. Kent, of course.
It's all very simple. I'm taking this sample of water back to Metropolis tonight for chemical analysis. If it contains what I think it does, I'll have the answer to the mystery of the monster.
What does Clark Kent expect to find in the sample of seawater? And how can it possibly lead to a solution of the mystery? We'll know more in just a moment when we return for the climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
You know, gang, I've been practically bursting with news all weekend. I could hardly wait to tell you today about that brand new series of comic buttons Kellogg's Pep's putting out for you, because I knew that you'd be mighty excited about it. Think of it. 18 new and different funny paper characters to collect and to wear on your jacket or your dress or cap, and to swap duplicates with your pals, too. And believe me, these new comic buttons are really something to see. The colors are so bright and sharp, and the pictures of your favorite comic strip characters are so real that, well, you'd know them anywhere. Take Denny Dimwit, for instance, with his peaked red hat and big ears, or a Flat Top from Dick Tracy. Say, he's kind of tough-looking, isn't he? Or Superman himself, so powerful and good-looking. Every one of these new pet comic buttons is an eye-catcher, believe me. And you know what the best part is? They're so easy to get. Sure, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you find one of these exciting prizes in every package of Kellogg's Pep. That's the Sunshine cereal, you know. Crisp golden flakes of good whole wheat that are loaded with catchy, sunny flavor. For a nifty dish for breakfast and for nifty prizes, tell Mom that you want P-E-P, Kellogg's Pep.
And now back to the adventures of Superman. Taking leave of Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, Clark Kent resumed his true identity as Superman and streaked back to Metropolis. As we join him now, he has again assumed the guise of the mild-mannered newspaper reporter and is leaning on a table in the laboratory of Ben Jacobs, the city chemist, who is just completing a series of tests on the sample of seawater Kent brought from St. Selmo.
Well, Ben, what's the story?
Hold your horses, Clark. I'm not through yet.
Oh, I know. But what's your guess? You think we've got something there?
Can't say yet.
Cautious character, aren't you?
Well, you gotta be cautious analyzing things.
Yes, you're so right. Look, Ben, if you think...
Wait a minute.
What's up? Did you find something?
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
I think it's what you're looking for.
Oh, swell. If it is, I know the answer to the mystery of the monster. Quick, Ben. Tell me what it is.
Anxiously, Clark Kent waits for the chemist to tell him exactly what the analysis reveals. What did the chemist find in the sample of seawater, and why is it so important? We're getting closer to the solution, gang, and you won't want to miss it. So don't forget to hear tomorrow's action-packed episode of The Phantom of the Sea. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, gang, here's how you can learn to identify the birds that have come back with the fine weather. Start collecting the full-color bird pictures from packages of Kellogg's Crumbles. Boy, is it fun. You'll get a kick out of collecting all 24 in the series and trading duplicates with your pals, too. And send for the colorful album so that you can paste in your collection. Full instructions for sending in are on the side of every Crumbles package. Ask Mom to get you some Crumbles, those crinkly, sort of sweet and metal-rich shreds of good whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, while Superman delays his return to St. Selmo for a visit to the Daily Planet, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn unwittingly walk into a new development in the mystery of the Phantom Sea Monster.
Hello there, gang. This is Dan McCullough. You know, the news that Kellogg's Pep is putting out a brand new series of comic buttons is spreading, as they say, like wildfire. All the fellas and girls in the gang are talking about these new comic buttons and making plans to collect all 18 in the new series. And no wonder why those Pep comic buttons you've been collecting right along are so doggone smart-looking that, well, who wouldn't be excited about this new series? They're brand new funny paper characters, you know, like Uncle Avery and Auntie Blossom and Fat Stuff and Mama Destros and Tilda, Tiny Tim, A Breath of Breeze, and Little Joe, and of course Superman himself. Every single one of them looks just as real as in the comic strips. Look mighty sharp pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. And how do you get these new Pep comic buttons? Why, it's easy. Just ask Mom to get you a package or two of Kellogg's Pep, and look inside the package for your prize. That's right, a button in each package. Now, you don't have to send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. All you do is to stock up on that Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep, the whole wheat flakes with that catchy, sunny flavor that makes breakfast so much fun, and so good for you, too. That's it, gang. For a Sunshine breakfast dish, and for exciting prizes, get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. On the trail of a front-page story for the Daily Planet, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, a part-time journalist and amateur detective, twice came in contact with a strange creature said by local fishermen to be a supernatural sea monster. But each time they were rescued by Superman, who found them floundering in the water and brought them safely back to St. Selmo, a fishing village on the Canadian North Atlantic coast. Certain that the so-called monster was not supernatural, and suspicious of something he saw in the ocean where the creature seemed to live, Superman took a bottled sample of the water back to Metropolis. Then, resuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent, he brought it to the laboratory of his friend Ben Jacobs for chemical analysis. As we join him now, the chemist is studying the contents of a test tube.
I think I found what you're looking for, Clark, but what good it's going to do you, I don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, this sample of seawater contains very positive traces of oil.
What kind of oil?
Probably, although I wouldn't want to be held to it, oil from a diesel engine.
That's all I wanted to know. Ben, you've practically solved the mystery of the St. Selmo monster single-handed.
Now, wait, not so fast. Let's get something straight here.
What?
I don't see how the fact that this seawater contains traces of diesel oil solves the mystery of a monster. Monsters aren't diesel-powered, you know.
Oh, that's just the point. They aren't.
That's what I said.
I know it, and you're right. 100% right.
Then how does it solve the mystery?
Well, maybe solve is too strong a word, Ben. It confirms a suspicion I've had for some time. I can't tell you about it now because I've got to get back to St. Selmo. Thanks a million, though, Ben. So long.
Confident now that he is finally on the right track and hopeful of solving the mystery of the monster within a matter of hours, Clark Kent delays his return to St. Selmo long enough to visit the Daily Planet, where he plans to report to Editor Perry White and assure him that all is well. Meanwhile, however, in the fishing village of St. Selmo, where the local residents are still numbed by the icy fingers of fear, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn await Kent's return. They are seated in the dimly lit public parlor of the inn at which they are staying. Lois, who has been dozing, looks up suddenly to find Horatio Horn poring over the pages of a book.
What are you reading, Horatio? I said, what are you reading?
It's a book called, What Do You Want to Know?
Oh.
It's a sort of combination almanac and abbreviated encyclopedia containing 1,001 questions and answers.
Uh-huh.
Handy volume, too.
I bet.
Haven't been without it since it was awarded to me by the National Correspondence Detective Institute as a prize for graduating with high honors.
Very interesting. What are you doing with it now? Boning for a guest appearance on a quiz program?
Oh, no. I'm looking for information on monsters.
Monsters?
Yes, but apparently there is no known variety of sea monster that's capable of shooting liquid flame.
Well, for heaven's sake, Horatio, didn't you know that?
I thought I did. That is, until tonight, when that fearsome creature shot a jet of flame that set our boat afire.
Oh, now, look, you still can't believe that thing is what Mr. Barnaby and the other superstitious people in the village say it is.
Well, I don't want to believe it, by Gulliver, but what I think and what I see can't seem to make sense together. But speaking of Mr. Barnaby...
I'd rather not, if you don't mind. By the way, I wonder what clue Clark expects to find in that seawater he took to Metropolis.
No sense guessing. We won't know until he gets back here tomorrow. Meanwhile, though, I think we should have another talk with Mr. Barnaby.
What in the world for, Horatio?
Well, I've been doing a good deal of putting two and two together.
With what results, Mr. Sherlock Holmes Horn?
Nothing definite, unfortunately. But, do you recall Barnaby saying something about finding unmistakable teeth marks on the hull of Captain Marble's boat after we found it beached?
Yes.
Inferring, of course, that the boat was brought ashore by the monster in his mouth?
What about it?
I examined those marks very carefully under a magnifying glass, and to me, they looked very much like markings that would be made by a steel cable.
But, Horatio, what does that prove?
That Mr. Barnaby wanted us to believe something that isn't so.
That never occurred to me.
And another thing. Why did Barnaby look as if he was seeing ghosts when he discovered that you, Mr. Kent, and I were alive after we went out to find the monster in his boat tonight?
I don't know, but he did.
And how did he know his boat had been sunk before we had told anyone what had happened to it?
Say, I think you've got something there, Horatio.
You bet I have, by Gulliver.
But wait a minute. What possible connection could Barnaby have with the monster?
That's just what I'd like to find out. And I think it's worth having a talk with him while we're waiting for Mr. Kent's return, on the chance that he might let something slip.
Do you think he's home?
Only one way to find out.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Hello, Clark Kent speaking. Oh, hello, Chief. Who could tell you to call me back? I see. Well, What? Whoa, now, wait a minute. One question at a time. I've been in town just a couple of hours. I flew down. Oh, nothing much. Just checking a clue. Oh, yes, there definitely is a big story brewing up there. Well, if luck's with us, we expect to crack it sometime tomorrow. No, look, Chief, I haven't time to give you the details now because I've got to fly back to St. Selmo tonight. Well, now, don't get excited. I'll leave you a memo detailing everything we know so far. No, don't worry. We'll be okay. Right. Okay, see you soon. Good night, Chief. Excitable guy, that Perry White. Well, since I said I'll do it, I better knock out a memo to the chief. Just hope Lois and Horatio keep out of mischief while waiting for me.
No answer. I guess Barnaby's not home.
He could be asleep. After all, it is late, especially for St. Selmo.
Yes, I suppose it is. I'll walk around to the side of this shack and have a look in the window.
How do you expect to see anything in the dark?
Oh, there's a bright moon. Probably throws enough light through the window to see inside. You wait here.
All right. Be careful, Horatio.
I will.
And hurry up, will you?
Okay.
Horatio?
What?
Do you see anything?
No.
What do you mean?
Barnaby's not in.
Are you sure?
Positive. I could see his bed, and it's empty.
That's odd. Where in the world do you suppose he'd be at this hour of the night?
I don't know. But this certainly makes me even more suspicious of friend Barnaby, by Gulliver.
We'll have to wait until morning to talk to him. Let's get back to the inn.
Why not wait here until he returns?
You mean stand out here on this cold, damp beach for Lord knows how long? Not on your life.
Well, maybe we can wait inside. I'd kind of like to have a look around in there anyway.
What do you want to do, break in?
Well, my detective course taught me that you... What do you know? Door's open.
That's funny.
Come on, Miss Lane.
Wait a minute, Horatio. We can't do this.
Why not?
Well, because...
Well, since he left the door unlocked, I'm sure Mr. Barnaby will have no objection to our waiting for him inside his shack.
But what if he does object?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Come on in.
Fearful of what may happen if their suspicions of Barnaby are confirmed, Lois reluctantly follows Horatio Horn into the fisherman's shack. We'll see what does happen in just a moment when we return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Gang, don't go around like an ostrich with his head in the sand. Don't get careless and say, an accident won't happen to me. Unless you're careful, it could. That's why Mom and Dad keep after you to watch both ways when you're crossing the street, and not to jaywalk, and not to play in the street, and not to hitch rides on cars or trucks. And here's some other things to keep in mind about riding your bicycle. It's taking a chance to ride with two people on a bike. Also, it's bad to ride your bike in the dusk or darkness without both front and rear lights. And it's dangerous to shoot out into the street from, behind a parked car. And it's silly to race another bicycle. Now, you can remember all that, can't you? Don't give an accident a single chance to happen to you.
Now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue now, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are in the shack of Pike Barnaby, a St. Selmo fisherman, whom they suspect of knowing more about the mysterious monster than he wants to tell. Still playing detective, Horatio Horn is busily examining the contents of the shack by the light of an electric torch, while Lois, worried and concerned, keeps urging him to leave the shack and return to the inn.
For heaven's sake, Horatio, stop snooping and let's get out of here before we're caught.
Just as soon as I've given this place a good going over, Miss Lane.
But what are you looking for?
Oh, nothing special. Just anything that could possibly be a clue.
I warn you, Horatio, this detective business of yours is going to get you into trouble.
On the contrary, Miss Lane, my detective course taught me that you can't... Great Jupiter!
What's the matter?
Why, look at this, Miss Lane.
What? What is it?
I found it tucked away in that corner under a pile of fish nets.
Why, that's a walkie-talkie.
Yes, a portable two-way radio, a transmitter and a receiver.
What in the world would a simple fisherman like Barnaby be doing with a thing like that?
You want to know too much, Miss Lane.
Mr. Barnaby.
Aye. Just in time to fix it so you don't meddle no more in things that is none of your concern.
You... Put that gun away.
I warned you to get out of town, but you wouldn't pay me no mind. So now you're gonna take the consequences.
His eyes gleaming hatefully in the moonlight that filters into the shack, Ike Barnaby moves slowly, menacingly toward Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, a blue-barreled revolver held steadily in his hand. Trapped by the angry armed fisherman, What will happen now to Lois and Horatio, with Superman still in Metropolis and unaware of their predicament? A great deal happens in tomorrow's thrill-packed episode of this exciting Superman adventure, Phantom of the Sea. So be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Say, who's in the know about kids in other countries, how they look and how they dress? Well, Kellogg has the answer with the cutout dolls of all nations on packages of Kellogg's Crumbles. Boy, what fun to cut them out and change their costumes and collect all 6 countries in the series like Switzerland and China and Sweden. 2 colorful cutout dolls and costumes on every package of Crumbles. Kellogg's Crumbles, the only cereal in crinkly shreds of good whole wheat, sort of sweet and mellow rich. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Today, Superman is unaware that during his absence from St. Selmo, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn have walked once again into grave danger.
Hello there, gang. This is Dan McCullough. News certainly gets around, doesn't it, gang? Most every fellow and girl I know is all hepped up about that brand new series of comic buttons in packages of Kellogg's Pep. One kid tells another until everybody's excited as anything, and for good reason. These new Pep comic buttons are something to cheer about. 18 new and different comic strip characters done up in full color on gleaming white buttons that look mighty nifty pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. And what a circus it is collecting them. You get the surprise of finding out which button's inside every package of Pep you open, and you get the fun of swapping duplicates with your pals, too. You'll want to collect Mama Destros and Gravel Gertie, the Winnie Winkle twins, Superman, and all the others. So remind Mom to get you plenty of Kellogg's Pep, because that's the only way you can get these new comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's an exciting prize in every package of that Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. There's good eating, too, because these are the whole wheat flakes with that sunny golden toasted flavor that gives breakfast a lift. Yes, sir, you'll like Pep, and you'll like the prizes in packages of P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Investigating what frightened natives of a Canadian coastal fishing village believe is a supernatural sea monster, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn suffered 2 almost disastrous encounters with the mysterious creature and were each time rescued by Superman. Undaunted, they continued their investigation, while Superman was off following a clue to the mystery of the monster. But this time, while searching the shack of a local fisherman of whom they had reason to be suspicious, Lois and Horatio signed their own death warrants. For just as they uncovered a hidden walkie-talkie radio in the shack, Ike Barnaby, its owner, opened the door.
Horatio, look. Great Jupiter, Barnaby.
And just in time to fix it so's you don't do no more snooping and meddling with things as ain't none of your business.
As we continue now, Barnaby has closed the door behind him. Standing in darkness, save for a shaft of eerie moonlight that filters through a small window and is reflected on the blue steel barrel of an automatic held by the angry fisherman, Lois and Horatio are tense with an awareness of their danger. Momentarily frozen with fear, Lois is speechless, but Horatio tries to brazen it out.
Don't be a fool, Mr. Barnaby. Put up that gun.
I ain't doing no such of a thing.
But it might go off.
I warned you to pack up and get out of St. Selmo before you run into trouble. But you didn't pay me no heed. You come looking for it. So now you gotta take the consequences.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, catching you snooping around here in my shack proved what I knowed all along. That you suspicioned me of having something to do with that monster out there on the fishing banks.
Well, sure we suspect you.
Horatio.
Because you gave us plenty of reason for suspicion.
Just how much do you know about me, young fella?
We don't know a thing.
Oh, yes, we do, and so do the police.
Horatio,
What's
please.
that about the police?
Horatio.
They'll be here to pick you up in the morning.
For heaven's sake, Horatio, keep quiet.
How do you know the police are picking me up?
I happen to be a detective as well as a newspaper reporter, Mr. Barnaby.
Horatio, you're out of your mind.
He may as well know the truth, Miss Lane. It gives him a chance to make a clean breast of things. That way he'll have a chance to get off comparatively easy.
Well, now, that's very neighborly of you.
I think it is, too, by Gulliver. Now, you can tell us the whole story of the monster, and that'll spare Mr. Kent the trouble of tracking down the clue he found out there in the water.
Kent found the clue, you said?
That's right. He's back in Metropolis checking it now. And if it's what he thinks it is, he says he'll be able to expose the mystery of your sea monster in practically no time at all.
Is that so? Well, that's mighty interesting.
Oh, that's all, brother. Now you fixed us, but good.
Sure, and I'm going to see to what you find out the whole secret of the mystery.
See, Miss Lane?
But first, I'm going to show you what I use this walkie-talkie for. I'll just turn on the power like this. Now you listen. But I warn you, don't try nothing funny.
Don't worry about that.
Barnaby calling Andrews. Barnaby calling Andrews. Come in. Barnaby calling
Smiling strangely, Barnaby's low, muffled voice enters the microphone of the walkie-talkie and speeds out across 3 miles of water where a big, red-faced man is seated at a table in the cabin of a disguised trawler anchored on the fishing banks. Faint sounds of activity can be heard from the deck overhead, but they are ignored by the man who seems to be occupied with a sheet of paper in front of him. Suddenly, his attention is arrested by the sound of a voice coming from a walkie-talkie standing at his elbow. Picking it up, he places it close to his ear and speaks into the mouthpiece.
This is Andrews, back to Barnaby. Andrews, back to Barnaby. What's on your mind? Come in.
We're in a heap of trouble, Andrews.
What's the matter now?
I caught 2 of them newspaper reporters snooping in my shack.
Uh-oh. Where are they now?
Standing right here in the shack. I got a gun on.
You stupid, bungling fool. I should have known better than to trust a numbskull like you.
I ain't done nothing.
Nothing but give yourself dead away talking like this in front of them?
But what could I do? I tell you, they knew too much.
Never mind the details. Get rid of them.
How?
I don't care how, but get rid of them, understand?
Aye. That's not all. I think you'd better clear off the fishing grounds and hold up for a while.
Why?
The police are onto me, too.
How do you know?
These 2 I got here told me. And another thing. They say a fella named Clark Kent is coming back tomorrow with a clue that'll uncover the mystery of the monster.
Impossible. They're pulling a bluff on you.
Maybe, but I don't think so. You'd better pull out. Monster and all won't hurt none.
Maybe you're right at that. Play it safe.
Sure, you can come back and start operating as soon as this blows over.
All right. That's what we'll do. And, Barnaby.
Yeah?
About those 2 guests of yours. I think a good way to get rid of them would be, well, anyway, bring them out to the secret cove tonight.
Tonight?
Yes. Contact me when you get there, and I'll tell you what to do.
But I got no boat.
Then come by land in your car. Is that clear?
Aye, it is.
That's all, then. See you later.
Moving swiftly, the man Barnaby called Andrews replaces the 2-way radio instrument on the desk. Then, picking up an intercommunication phone, he presses a button marked Bridge. Meanwhile, still in Metropolis, Superman has just completed a memorandum to Editor Perry White, in which he outlined the progress made by the 3 Daily Planet reporters in exposing the mystery of the St. Selmo sea monster. Now, armed with what he considers a definite clue, he strips off his guise of Clark Kent and prepares to take off from the privacy of his own office for a return trip to the Canadian fishing village.
There we are. All set. Now, with what I've learned from the analysis of the sample of seawater from the fishing banks, I'm pretty sure I've got the monster's number. Up with this window. If only Lois and Horatio kept out of trouble, we should clean up the mystery and be back here with a page 1 story tomorrow. Well, here's hoping. Out! And away!
Like a red and blue meteor, the Man of Steel streaks through the night sky and, traveling with the speed of light, arrives at St. Selmo within a few minutes. Then, resuming the guise and garb of Clark Kent, He enters the Fisherman's Inn. As he passes the desk, a sudden impulse makes him stop and question the elderly clerk.
Good evening.
Evening, Mr. Kent. Something you want?
Miss Lane and Mr. Horn are in their rooms, I suppose.
Oh, no, sir, they ain't. They've gone out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, saw 'em go myself.
About how long ago would you say that was?
Yeah, let me see, about an hour ago. I wouldn't worry none about them, no. Listen, they went out looking for that there sea monster, that is.
Well, anything's possible with those two.
Maybe they went for a walk along the beach, or maybe they're just sitting on the docks.
Thanks, I'll have a look. See you later.
Outwardly accepting the clerk's suggestion that Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are simply enjoying the night air on the waterfront, Clark Kent walks swiftly along the dark, deserted main street of the village toward the beach, his keen eyes searching for a sight of them, while a sixth sense warns him that all is not well. In just a moment, we'll know what has happened to Lois and Horatio, so keep listening.
You know what an encore is, don't you? You know, in the theater, when you like an act, you clap for more. Well, those pep comic buttons are sure doing an encore now. They're so doggone popular with all the fellows and girls in the gang. Kellogg's Pep is putting out a brand new series of 18 new buttons to collect. And Pep can take a bow for that, believe me, because these new Pep comic buttons are a sight to see. They're bright colored as anything, on gleaming white enamel, with the pictures of your favorite funny paper characters standing out clear and sharp, like Wilmer, for instance, from Gasoline Alley, and Little Joe, and B.O. Plenty, and Daisy, and Superman himself with his red insignia on that bright blue jersey. Yes, sir, these new Pep comic buttons are really terrific, and so easy to collect, too. You don't send in any money, not even a box stop. Fact is, you can't buy them anywhere, but every time Mom opens a new package of Kellogg's Pep, there's one of these buttons as a prize inside. And there's mighty good eating for you, too, because Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. It's loaded with catchy, sunny toasted flavor, crisp and fresh as can be. Tell Mom that you want Pep for breakfast every day, and get your prizes from P.E.P., the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As Clark Kent searches vainly for them on the St. Selmo waterfront, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, their hands bound, are riding in Mr. Barnaby's ancient car. After more than a half hour of driving along stretches of sandy beach and oyster shell back roads, they are just arriving at their destination, a tiny hidden cove. Now, a triumphant smile wrinkling his weathered face, Barnaby brings his car to a stop.
Is this the hideout you were talking about, Mr. Barnaby?
Aye, that it is, Mr. Horn. Likewise, the home of the sea monster.
The monster?
Aye, Miss Lane, the monster. Wait. Look sharp out yonder where my finger's pointing. You can see it gliding into the cove.
Good heavens.
It is the monster, by Gulliver.
Yep. Fearsome, ain't it?
Why have you brought us here, Mr. Barnaby?
Well, you've been wanting a close look at the monster so she could know the secret of her. Well, you're going to get that chance now.
Now, wait a minute.
Yep, you're going to get a chance to see her real close. Much closer than you bargained for, too, I suspect.
What do you mean by that?
Just this, Miss Lane. Listen, I'm mighty wrong. The man you heard me talking to on the walkie-talkie in my shack is figuring to feed you to that monster tonight.
Unwilling to believe their ears, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stare open-mouthed at the leering Barnaby as the blood drains from their faces, and an overpowering sense of fear chills them to the bone. Is this some grim sort of joke, or is Barnaby serious when he threatens Lois and Horatio with being fed to the monster? In any case, the two reporters are definitely in danger, while Superman is still unaware of what has happened to them. Superman's adventure with the Phantom of the Sea is fast drawing to a close, and we know you won't want to miss the exciting wind-up. So don't fail to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines, and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. How'd you like to learn about the birds that are around now that the weather's warmer? You know, like the flycatcher and the warbler? Well, start collecting full-color bird pictures that come, one in every package, of Kellogg's Crumbles. Get set to collect all 24 in the series and swap duplicates with your friends. And get a colorful album, too, so that you can paste in your collection. Full instructions for sending in are on the side of every Crumbles package. Just ask Mom for Crumbles, those crinkly, sort of sweet and mellow rich shreds of real whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents The Adventures of Superman. Today, Superman returns to St. Selmo, where he learns that Lois Lane and Horatio Horn have disappeared, but is unaware that they are prisoners of the men behind the mysterious sea monster.
Hello there, gang. This is Dan McCullough. You've heard the news, haven't you? You know that Kellogg's Pep is putting out a brand new series of comic buttons. Sure, all the fellows and girls are mighty excited these days. It's such swell news that you can collect 18 new and different Pep comic buttons, just like the ones that made such a hit with all the gang. Yes, sir, 18 new funny paper characters to collect and to wear pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. Comic buttons like Ma Winkle and A Breath of Breeze and Fat Stuff from Smilin' Jack and Superman himself. You won't want to miss out on a single one of them. And you'd hate to miss the fun of trading duplicates with your pals, too. That's an exciting transaction every time. Believe me, everything about this brand new series of Pep comic buttons is exciting. Like the surprise you get when you open a new package of Kellogg's Pep. That's how you get these comic buttons, you know. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you get a comic button in every package of Pep. And you get some mighty smooth eating, too, because Pep is strictly terrific when it comes to sunny, golden toasted flavor. That's the Sunshine Cereal, gang. P-E-P. Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Ignoring ominous warnings to discontinue their efforts to solve the mystery of what the fishermen of St. Selmo believe is a supernatural sea monster, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, Daily Planet correspondent and amateur detective, walked right into trouble. Trapped in the seaside shack of Ike Barnaby, a fisherman whom they had reason to suspect, Lois and Horatio were taken at gunpoint to a hidden cove by order of a man with whom Barnaby communicated via a walkie-talkie radio. As they reached the hideout, Barnaby stopped his car and pointed to a long black object that was just then sliding into the inky waters of the sheltered cove.
There's the monster you were so anxious to see close up. You'll be seeing it now, and closer than you bargained for, I warrant. 'Cause tonight you're gonna be fed to it.
What? Fed to it?
Aye. Before long, you'll be inside the belly of that monster.
Meanwhile, in St. Selmo, unaware that Lois and Horatio are in grave danger, Superman, in the guise of Clark Kent, is searching for them, his sharp eyes scanning the beach for miles in either direction.
Well, there's not a sign of them down here. Wonder where they can be. Lois certainly wasn't stupid enough to go out on a boat again, not after that last experience. What about Barnaby's shack? They may have gone down there to question him. I think I'll stroll over and have a look. Nobody home here, and the door's locked. Wonder where Barnaby can be at this hour of the night. Could he have gone somewhere with Lois and Horatio? Oh, wait a minute. a light in that shack further down on the beach. Maybe I can get some information there. Looks like an old fisherman. Good evening. I'm sorry to bother you at this hour.
What do you want?
Well, I'm looking for two friends of mine, a young man and a young lady.
You come to the wrong place. Ain't nobody here but me.
Yes, I know, but I thought you might have seen them visiting your neighbor, Mr. Barnaby.
Don't have no truck with Barnaby.
Oh?
Never did. He ain't a man to be trusted.
Well, that's interesting. Could you, tell me something about him?
Nope. Never talk about nobody.
Well, that's very admirable, of course, but you just told me you didn't trust him.
Well, I ain't saying no more.
Couldn't you just tell me why you don't trust Barnaby?
Never did trust no man does his business under cover of darkness. Come dark, Lord's creatures was meant to be rested from honest labors.
I see. You mean Barnaby's labors are not honest?
All I know is I seen him slinking off through the dark less than an hour ago 'twas, with two others.
With two others?
Aye. Saw 'em, 3 of 'em, walking north along the beach.
Was one of them a young lady?
Couldn't tell in the dark, but I heard a voice sounded like a woman.
You don't know where they went, do you?
Like I told you before, young feller, I mind my own business.
Yes, of course. Just one more question. I know that Barnaby's boat was wrecked last night.
Aye, by the monster 'twas.
Yes, well, do you know if he has another boat tied up anywhere along this shore?
Young feller, how many times should I have to tell you?
I know. You mind your own business.
Aye, that I do. And I'd advise you to do likewise.
Well, at least I accomplished one thing. Lois and Horatio evidently did visit Barnaby and went off with him. Now the question is why and where? Well, there's only one way to get an answer. Search this coast inch by inch as Superman. I can cover a lot more ground this way, and faster. There we are. All set. Now, up and away! As the Man of Steel streaks like a red and blue rocket along the desolate North Atlantic coast, the objects of his search are, as we know, Barnaby's prisoners in a secret hideaway on the beach of a tiny hidden cove. With their hands tied behind their backs, Lois and Horatio are seated on the dirt floor of a wooden shack. Apparently a warehouse, it is stacked to the ceiling with drums of gasoline and crude oil, barely visible in the single ray of weak moonlight that filters in through a small barred window. Worried and frightened by Barnaby's threats, the two reporters are almost certain they will not live to see another dawn.
Well, Horatio, it looks as if we've bitten off more than we can chew.
Please, Miss Lane, we're not done for yet.
If this isn't it, I hope I never come any closer to it.
Now. You know, while there's life...
Oh, don't give me that while there's hope there's life routine again.
Well, it's true.
Maybe it isn't books, Horatio, but this isn't a book. This doesn't have to have a happy ending.
Well, I, for one, am not giving up. Not by a long shot.
Bravo. Any ideas on how we can get out of this?
Nothing practical, that is, at the moment.
There isn't much time, you know.
I know. Look, Miss Lane, what do you suppose Barnaby meant when he said they're going to feed us to the monster?
I don't know. But whatever he meant, I don't like it.
Do you think there really is a living, breathing monster?
Oh, please, Horatio.
I must say it looked alive when we saw it swim into the cove.
Stop it, or I'll scream.
I'm sorry, Miss Lane. I'm terribly sorry. I was just trying to take your mind off our troubles.
Don't worry about my mind. I won't need it without a body.
Yes, you're quite right. But really, Miss Lane, just sitting here in the dark waiting for the end to come isn't very sensible.
What else can we do with our hands tied behind our backs?
Well, fortunately, they didn't tie our ankles. At least we can walk around, which is what I'm going to do. I might find something.
All you'll find in this shack are oil drums and packing cases, Horatio.
One never can tell, Miss Lane. One never can tell.
As Horatio Horn gropes in the darkness of their prison shack, ever hopeful of finding a way to break out, Barnaby is seated at a table in a nearby hut, where, in the feeble rays of an oil-burning ship's lamp, he is talking into the mouthpiece of a walkie-talkie.
I warn you, Mr. Andrews, you'd best up anchor and come into the cove before you run afoul of trouble.
Don't worry, Barnaby. I know what I'm doing. Besides, we're practically finished out here.
You are?
Yes.
Did you find it?
We found it, all right, and it's all aboard now.
Good.
But we want no loose ends floating around, understand?
Aye. What do you want me to do?
Since we have no further use for the monster, we'll get rid of it. those two reporters at the same time.
Jehoshaphat, you mean that?
Of course.
But that's murder.
You do as you're told, or instead of being cut in on this deal, you'll find yourself in the same boat with the reporters, and I do mean the same boat. Get it?
Aye.
All right. Now listen carefully. Here's what I want you to do. Put the reporters into the monster. Then send it to the bottom, and make sure it never comes up again.
Passing horrible sentence on Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the mysterious Mr. Andrews signs off. A moment later, Barnaby flips the switch on his own walkie-talkie and prepares to carry out the grim order of execution. With Superman still unaware even of their whereabouts, what will happen to the two reporters now? In just a moment, we'll return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Don't you get a kick out of it when you can tell somebody some good news? Well, that's the way I felt all week about that brand new series of comic buttons and packages of Kellogg's Pep. I knew that you fellows and girls in the gang were going to be mighty enthusiastic because those Pep comic buttons have been mighty popular. That's why Pep put out this brand new series, you know, so that you can have even more fun. And are they humdingers? Every one of these 18 new comic buttons is bright with color, really snappy looking. And the pictures of your favorite comic strip characters are true to life. Auntie Blossom and Tilda and Tiny Tim and Superman look so real they could almost speak. Boy, the fun you'll have collecting all 18 in this new series and wearing them on your jacket or your dress or cap and swapping duplicates with your pals. You wouldn't want to miss it. And you don't have to because they're easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's a comic button in every package of Kellogg's Pep. And look for some mighty good eating, too, because Pep is a super delicious breakfast dish with a catchy sunshine flavor. So doggone good tasting, you'll want to eat hearty. So ask Mom to get you some P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue now, Superman, having vainly searched a few scant miles of the shoreline for Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, and unaware that if he had gone but a short distance further, he might have found the hideaway cove in which they are now held prisoner, is streaking out over the ocean in ever-narrowing circles that bring him closer and closer to the St. Selmo fishing banks, the waters from which the monster had frightened away the local fishermen.
Still no sign of them. My hunch that Barnaby brought them out here again evidently isn't going to pay off. Now I'm really worried. Well, before I do anything else, I'll check on whether they've come back to the inn. It's just a bare chance that somehow I missed them. So it's back to St. Selmo. Away! Whoa, hold everything. There's a beam trawler down there on the fishing banks. Lois and Horatio might be on that. Anyway, it's worth a look. Down to that trawler. Down!
Plummeting downward like some huge bird of prey, Superman lands on the deck of the trawler to the utter amazement of its crew. What will happen when the Man of Steel discovers that Lois Lane and Horatio Horn are not aboard the boat? Will he discover that what appears to be an innocent fishing trawler holds the secret of the sea monster? And more important, will he learn that from this boat was just given the order to place Lois and Horatio in the mysterious monster and send it to the bottom of the sea? Will he learn it in time? Superman's adventure with the Phantom of the Sea is fast growing to a smashing action-packed climax, gang, so don't miss a minute of it. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Can you identify a yellow-headed blackbird? Well, you can if you're collecting those full-color bird pictures that come one in every package of Kellogg's Crumbles. You'll want to collect all 24 in the series. And you'll want the fun of trading duplicates with your pals. And you'll want the colorful album, too, so that you can paste in your collection. Full instructions for sending in are on the side of every Crumbles package. That's Crumbles, those crinkly, sort of sweet and meadow-rich shreds of good whole wheat. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, while Superman searches for Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the two reporters are introduced to the mystery of the sea monster and are sent away to what appears to be certain death.
Hello there, gang. This is Dan McCullough. Boy, this has been a week, hasn't it, gang? With all the excitement on the Superman show and the news about that brand new series of comic buttons and packages of Kellogg's Pep. Bet you're all set to collect them and to get yourself some snappy-looking buttons to pin on your jacket or your dress or cap, because they are smart-looking, believe me, done up in full comic strip colors on gleaming white enamel buttons that show up like anything. And the pictures of your favorite funny paper characters are so true to life. The Winnie Winkle twins and Gravel Gertie and Tilda and Superman look so real they could almost talk to you. Not to mention the fun that you'll have if you happen to get a duplicate, because then you can find out which one of your pals has a button to swap with you and add another Pep comic button to your collection that way. So remind Mom to get you some Kellogg's Pep when she shops. That's the only way you can get these comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But you'll find a comic button in every package of Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. That's sunny golden toasted whole wheat flakes that make breakfast such good eating. Remember, be sure to ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Attempting to solve the mystery of what appeared to be a mammoth monster of the sea, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, an eccentric Daily Planet correspondent and amateur detective, followed a trail of suspicion that led them to Ike Barnaby, a native of St. Selmo, a Canadian fishing village on the North Atlantic coast. Caught snooping in his shack, they were held at gunpoint by Barnaby, who reported via two-way radio to someone aboard a boat engaged in a mysterious operation in the waters of the fishing grounds, from which the native fishermen had been frightened away by the monster. Barnaby was told to take Lois and Horatio to a hideaway on the beach of a hidden cove, where he locked them in a shack used to store gasoline, oil, and other supplies. Then, again in radio contact with the boat, the skipper gave Barnaby a final order.
Since our job here is finished, and we won't need the monster anymore, I want you to put those two snooping reporters in it and send it to the bottom, and make sure it never comes up again.
Meanwhile, Superman, searching for Lois and Horatio, spotted what appeared to be a fishing trawler some miles offshore. Innocently thinking that perhaps his friends were aboard the boat, he dropped to the deck, just as it hauled anchor and got under way. Listen.
What's the matter, men? Giving up before you've caught any fish?
What business is that of yours?
Just curious. You're the skipper of this boat, I gather.
That's right. What did you come aboard for? What do you want?
I'm, looking for two friends of mine who disappeared.
We haven't seen anyone, have we, boys?
I see. Tell me, aren't you and your crew afraid of the sea monster, or haven't you heard of it?
Well, we've heard of it, but...
But you're not afraid?
That's right.
Or you know there is no monster. Which is it?
Look here. I'm not going to be quizzed like a schoolboy by Superman or anyone else. I'm minding my own business. And my business is no concern of yours.
You're perfectly right, and I'm sorry if I offended you.
Okay.
I'd like to ask just one question, if I may.
Well, all right. What is it?
I notice you're carrying a lot of diving equipment.
Oh, what about it? Is there a law against that?
No, but it does seem odd on a fishing trawler, doesn't it?
So what? Suppose I told you my hobby is collecting, all sorts of deep-sea stuff.
Fascinating hobby. Sometimes I imagine you even find things of great value at the bottom. Isn't that so?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, nothing. Well, since the people I'm looking for are not aboard, I'll take off again. Thanks for your, courtesy, Captain.
Okay.
So long. See you again sometime. Up and away! I wonder did he think he was pulling the wool over my eyes. That boat's no more a fishing trawler than I'm a giraffe. The deck loaded with expensive diving equipment and the hold piled high with iron-bound chests, and not a fish in sight. I'll be back for another look at that boat, but first I've got to find Lois and Horatio. Away! Certain that the fishing trawler is sailing under false colors, but unaware that it represents the solution to the mystery, Superman heads back to St. Selmo in search of Lois Lane and Horatio Horn. But meanwhile, Lois and Horatio, still locked in the dark wooden warehouse at the Cove hideout, have made what Horatio believes is an exciting and momentous discovery in an open packing box.
I don't know why you're so excited about finding this, Horatio.
Great Lucifer, Miss Lane. Don't you know what a Very pistol can do?
Certainly. It fires rockets, signal rockets.
Exactly.
But what earthly use is it to us with the door locked and bolted and our hands tied behind our backs?
Don't worry. I'll figure out some way to fire it, by Gulliver, even with my hands tied.
All right, suppose you do. Where will the rocket go? Through the roof?
Oh, no, certainly not. I'll break the glass in the window, stick the pistol through the bars, and fire.
While hanging by your toes from the ceiling, I suppose.
Well, no, that wouldn't be practical.
You can say that again.
But if I could pile up a few boxes and stand on them, I could...
Oh, give it up, Horatio.
Give it up?
Yes, because even if you can accomplish the impossible, what good will it do? Who'll see the signal? And what could it possibly mean to anyone who, by some miracle, might see it?
Well, I don't know exactly.
Exactly nothing. No one but Superman, maybe, would even bother investigating.
Say, maybe Superman would see it.
Optimistic.
He did find us twice when the monster dumped us out of boats we'd hired, didn't he?
Yes, but each time Clark Kent had asked him to look for us. Or so he said.
Well, maybe Mr. Kent's returned and he... Wait, Miss Lane.
What's the matter?
I think somebody's coming.
That must be Barnaby.
He's ready to feed us to the monster.
Oh, stop.
Here, quick. Hide these signal rockets in your coat pocket.
What for?
We may have a chance to use them outside.
But...
I've got the pistol under my coat.
What good will the rockets do?
Maybe none, but what have we got to lose?
Be quiet. Be quiet.
All right, get up on your feet, both of you. Get up, I said.
Better do it. He's got a gun.
All right. Now what?
Come straight forward into the beam of this flashlight. And I warn you, keep walking. Don't try nothing funny.
Where are you taking us, Mr. Barnaby?
Hush up and get into that outboard motorboat tied up to the dock. We're going out to see the monster.
Horatio.
Once we cast off, if either of you gets a notion to jump overboard, I'll shoot you like sitting ducks.
We're coming closer to it, Miss Lane.
Yes, I see it, Horatio.
It's gigantic.
What'll we do?
I can only think of it.
Look, both of you. Here's your monster. Look sharp now, we're coming alongside.
Good heavens.
Miss Lane, look. Up there on its back.
A hatch. It's opening. Horatio.
Great Lucifer. It's a submarine. The monster is a camouflage submarine.
With mouths agape and eyes bulging, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn stare in shocked amazement at the long, low black hulk of a submarine, whose pointed bow is painted with luminous paint to resemble a monstrously hideous face, equipped with red-lensed automobile headlights for eyes. In just a moment, we'll return for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Think of it, gang. 18 brand new comic buttons to collect from packages of Kellogg's Pep. A brand new series of comic buttons, like the ones that you've had so much fun with. That's something to get excited about, isn't it? And these new Pep comic buttons are the best-looking things you ever saw. Bright-colored, gleaming white enamel background, the pictures of your favorite funny paper characters standing out so clear and sharp. 18 different buttons in all. Flat top and a breath of breeze and Little Joe, Daisy, Superman, just to mention a few. They're all old friends from the funny papers. You'll want to collect every single one of these new Pep comic buttons. And you'll want the fun of swapping duplicates with your pals, too. So ask Mom to get you plenty of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep, because that's how you get these new comic buttons, one in each box. Now, you don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But every time you open a package of Pep, there's your snappy prize. And there's some mighty snappy eating, too, because Pep is a whiz of a breakfast cereal. It tastes so crisp and sunny and golden toasted, you practically can't resist it. So ask Mom for P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
Now, back to the adventures of Superman. As we continue, two men have emerged from the camouflaged submarine and, lowering a rope ladder suspended from the open hatch, climbed down into Barnaby's boat. At Barnaby's order, enforced by the gun in his hand, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn clamber up the ladder to enter the underseas craft that looks so much like the monster it was supposed to be.
Quickly, Miss Lane. Slip me that signal rocket you've got in your pocket.
What for, Horatio? What can you
This is our last chance to send it off. Hurry, give it to me.
All right. Here. But it won't do any good.
There's nothing to be lost by trying.
But Barnaby and the others, they'll see you.
Not until it's too late. Go ahead, down the hatch. I'll follow, and before I'm all the way down, I'll let go.
Too lively, you two. Hurry, go up, bat down that hatch.
There. It's all set to go off. Now.
Look out, Barnaby. He's got a gun.
Up, let her on fire.
Here it goes!
He's fired a signal rocket.
Drop down, Horatio, hurry!
Quick, Harry, get up, bat down that hatch.
Look up there, through the hatch. Oh, my. There, Miss Lane. See how that white flash shines like a star of hope in the sky?
Yes, and we'll last about as long as it will now.
Don't be so pessimistic.
That flower won't do no good, 'cause as soon as we get back to shore, we're starting these motors by radio and sending the sub on a trip that'll land in 50 fathoms of water at the bottom of the sea.
Realizing that the closing of the hatch overhead appears to definitely seal their doom, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn look at each other in dejected helplessness. Their only hope, that someone saw and will investigate the signal flare Horatio fired into the sky. Meanwhile, Superman, still ranging the coastline in search of them, catches the gleam of what appears to be a falling star far to the north. Veering sharply, Superman streaks away toward the falling light, which by this time has almost disappeared. Will he find the monster-like submarine before it is sent to the bottom with Lois and Horatio? We'll know on Monday, gang, when we learn, too, why Barnaby and his henchmen made and used the submarine monster to frighten the fishermen of St. Selmo. Yes, the next action-packed episode brings this story to a smashing climax. So don't miss it. Be sure to tune in again Monday. Same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine cereal. Want to learn to identify birds? Well, then start collecting those full-color bird pictures that come, one in every package, of Kellogg's Crumbles. 24 different birds in the series, with a full description of each one. You'll want to collect them all and trade duplicates with your pals. And get the colorful album, too, so that you can paste in your collection. Full instructions for sending in are on the side of every Crumbles package. That's Crumbles, the crinkly, sort of sweet and metal-rich shreds of real whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us on Monday for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P, Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, while Superman speeds to the rescue of Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, the submarine's prisoners lie unconscious, trapped victims of the ocean's watery depths.
They're new. They're different. They're exciting. They're a brand new series of comic buttons, one in every package of Kellogg's Pep. 18 different comic strip characters to wear pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. Get in on the fun of collecting them all, Maul Winkle and Tiny Tim, Flat Top, Superman, and all the rest. Don't miss the thrill of swapping duplicates with your pals. And be sure to be around for the surprise when it's time to open a new package of Pep. You never know which button you'll find inside, but you do know it'll be a slick-looking job. A true-to-life picture of a famous funny paper character in full color on a gleaming white enameled button that you'll get a real kick out of adding to your collection. Now, here's the payoff. Here's how simple it is to get these Pep comic buttons. You don't have to send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. They come only as exclusive prizes, one in every package of Kellogg's Pep you open. And remember, too, when you open a package of Pep, that you're in for some terrifically good eating, because these toasted whole wheat flakes are packed with catchy sunshine flavor that puts come on in every bite. For prize eating and exciting prizes, get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the Adventures of Superman. When Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, a part-time Daily Planet correspondent and an amateur detective, set out to solve the mystery of a supernatural sea monster supposedly haunting the Canadian fishing village of St. Selmo, they had no idea the monster would turn out to be a cleverly camouflaged submarine. Why it was being used to frighten the fishermen of St. Selmo away from the fishing grounds is still a mystery. But neither Lois nor Horatio is in any position to solve it. Held at gunpoint by Ike Barnaby, a local resident who was evidently in on the mysterious plot, they were forced into the submarine, the hatch locked and bolted, and the steel monster sent out to sea via radio control. Its destination, the bottom of the ocean. However, a moment before the hatch was slammed shut, Horatio Horn succeeded in setting off a signal flare. Superman, ranging the coast in search of his friends, spotted the flare just as it dropped into the sea. Wheeling like a bird in flight, the Man of Steel streaked back to the spot. We find him now, hovering almost motionless, over the hidden cove from which the doomed submarine departed.
That flare dropped into the water somewhere around here. All I can see is a cove leading out to the sea. Wait. Is that a shack down there on the shore? Yes, it is. And there are 3 men in it. Great Scott. One of them is Ike Barnaby. Down! Down!
How far off is she, Ike? About a half a mile. She's heading down under now. Won't be long.
What are they talking about? What's that radio control panel Barnaby's working at? Well, there's only one way to find out. Good evening, gentlemen.
Superman.
In person, Mr. Barnaby. Get away from that control panel.
Oh, Charlie, stop. I'll get it.
Isn't that asking a little too much of your friends, Barnaby? Relax, boys, or I'll tie you in a knot.
Get out of the way. I'll stop him.
Not with that little pea shooter, Barnaby. Try again.
The bullets bounce off his chest.
It's about time you knew that.
No, your knife.
Oh, no, Joe. Bad little boys shouldn't play with knives.
Let go of me like that. I didn't do nothing.
I'm going to make sure you don't. Sweet dreams, Joe.
Hey.
All right, Charlie, you're next.
You'll pay for this. You got no right busting in here.
It isn't a matter of right and wrong anymore, Barnaby. You've had things your way entirely too long. Now I'm going to get them my way.
You'll get nothing.
What? Why did you smash that radio control panel? Answer me.
I ain't talking.
You'll talk or I'll know the reason why.
Get away from me. Get away!
Up to now, Barnaby, I've always pulled my punches in dealing with people like you because I realize that criminals have sick minds.
But your mind is not sick. You went into this with your eyes open. You spread the most vicious poison known to mankind, the poison of fear. I don't know why you did it or with whom you're working, but this much I do know. I'll give you exactly 60 seconds to tell me what you've done with Miss Lane and Mr. Horn.
Yeah.
60 seconds. If you haven't told me by then, I'll show you what it means to be frightened.
With his voice cutting like cold, hard steel, Superman advances on Ike Barnaby, who cringes against the wall. His pale, watery eyes break with panic. Meanwhile, a half-mile offshore, the submarine in which Lois and Horatio are trapped, suddenly cut off from its radio control, has shot to the surface where it now floats like a monstrous cigar in the pale moonlight. Inside the steel hull, Lois is the first to find voice.
Horatio, what happened?
I think we're floating.
Floating where?
On the surface. We were going down. The bow was tilted, and I could feel the pressure. And then suddenly we shot up.
You mean we're on top of the water?
Yes, I think so. Wait, maybe I can make sure. Is there a piece of metal around?
Well, the whole submarine is metal.
No, I mean a loose piece.
Oh, Horatio, this is no time to start experimenting. I'll take your word for it.
No, wait, don't move. Sit perfectly still. Hear that faint lapping of water? Feel the slight motion from side to side?
Yes.
That proves it. We're floating on the surface.
Well, just don't talk about it, Horatio. Do something. Get us out of this sardine can.
Well, how can I? The hatch is bolted from the outside.
Is that the only way out?
Let me think.
Well,
I'm thinking.
In the meantime, the air is getting foul in here. We won't be able to breathe soon.
The torpedo tubes.
The what?
The torpedo tubes. We can crawl out through the torpedo tubes.
Where are they?
Probably in the bow.
Oh.
You stay here. I'll see if I can find them.
Be careful, Horatio.
Don't you worry. You just relax.
Relax. With every nerve in my body snapping like a rubber band. Horatio, are you all right?
I think I've got them.
The torpedo tubes?
Yes. I'll know in a minute as soon as I get this thing open. It sure is tight.
Can I help you?
No. I think I can do it.
Horatio! What happened?
I opened the wrong thing. Water's pouring in.
Well, close it! Hurry!
I can't. There's too much pressure. Out with you, Miss Lane. We're going to drown like rats.
With water pouring into the sealed submarine in a thunderous roar, Lois and Horatio now face an end even more horrible than that planned for them by Ike Barnaby and his henchmen. It will be only a matter of minutes before the steel hull becomes filled and sinks forever to the ocean bottom. Meanwhile, at the shack in the hidden cove, Superman, unaware that he is running a grim race with death, towers over Ike Barnaby.
Your time's getting short, Barnaby. Just a few more seconds. Unless you tell me what you've done with Miss Lane and Mr. Horn, you're going to suffer as no human being has ever suffered before.
Go ahead. Kill me.
Oh, no, it won't be as easy as all that. This won't be physical suffering. It'll be fear.
Huh?
The same poisonous fear you've been spreading, only much worse. I'm going to fly you out over the ocean and drop you from 10,000 feet.
What?
Your body will fall like a sack of flour, turning over and over. Oh. You'll try to breathe, but you won't be able to. You'll see the water coming up to meet you.
Stop it!
Then talk. And talk fast.
They're in a submarine offshore.
Just as I thought. That was the monster, a submarine.
Yeah, they're locked inside.
Who's with them?
No one. They're alone.
Alone? That control panel. You were running the sub by radio.
Yeah. I sent it to the bottom.
Why, you...
It wasn't my idea. I was taking orders.
We'll settle that later. Right now, you're going with me. You're going to show me where that submarine went down, and if we don't find it, heaven help you.
We'll be back in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Do you know what the Winnie Winkle twins have been doing lately? Have you seen Denny Dimwit in the funny papers? And have you got those familiar characters in your collection of comic buttons, that brand new series Kellogg's Pep is putting out? Don't miss a single one of these 18 different buttons. Here's a partial list of the new series. Ma Winkle, Mr. Bibbs, Daisy, B.O. Plenty, Gravel Gertie, Flat Top, Wilmer, and Superman, of course. Isn't that a gallery of comic strip favorites? You'll get a kick out of collecting them all and swapping duplicates with your friends. and getting a surprise comic button every time you open a new package of Kellogg's Pep. And remember, that's the only way you can get these Pep comic buttons. You can't buy them anywhere, and you don't send in any money, not even a box stop. But you just keep supplied with Pep and look for your prize inside every package you open. And keep on the lookout for a grand breakfast dish, too. Kellogg's Pep is called the Sunshine Cereal. Toasted whole wheat flakes with a catchy sunshine flavor. Good for you, too, with an extra amount of energy vitamin B1 to help keep you going through the day, and added sunshine vitamin D. Remember, for prize eating and exciting prizes, get P-E-P, the Sunshine Cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now the adventures of Superman. Winging out over the dark ocean with the limp and helpless figure of Ike Barnaby under one arm, Superman hurries to the rescue of Lois Lane and Horatio Horn, trapped in the sinking submarine.
You said a half mile out, Barnaby?
Yeah.
Straight out from the cove? Speak up.
Yeah, straight out. Don't drop me, please.
Now maybe you know what fear is. All right, we're a half mile out, but I don't see any submarine. Are you lying to me?
Oh, no.
If you are, Barnaby,
I swear to heaven.
You could swear on a stack of Bibles and I wouldn't believe you.
It's the truth. You can't see the sub. It's on the bottom.
I could see it if it... Wait a minute. Bubbles in the water. There it is. It's sinking. Down. Oh! Hit the water pretty hard, didn't we? You can swim, can't you? All right, keep yourself afloat. I'm going down for that sub, and don't try to escape.
Diving beneath the surface, Superman heads down, down, down through the murky depths, following the line of telltale bubbles streaming up from the sinking submarine. Schools of fish scatter in startled amazement as this strange man-creature, his brilliant eyes piercing the ever-increasing darkness, cuts through the water like a blue and scarlet denizen of the deep. Finally, he overtakes the huge steel hull, swims swiftly beneath it, and lets it settle gently on his massive shoulders.
Oh. Now to get it up to the surface. Oh, good Lord, it's heavy. Up. Oh. Up.
Straining every muscle in his powerful body, fighting not only against the tremendous weight of the water-filled submarine, but also the crushing pressure of the ocean depths, Superman forces his monstrous steel burden up inch by inch, foot by foot. Then suddenly his X-ray eyes pierce the hull and his heart sinks. He can see two bodies, the bodies of Lois and Horatio, resting limp and seemingly lifeless on the floor of the submarine. Has Superman for the first time in his career arrived too late? We'll know tomorrow when we hear the smashing climax of The Phantom of the Sea, together with the beginning of a new Superman adventure. So be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station for The Adventures of Superman.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. What goes with the kids in other countries? What do they look like and how do they dress? Kellogg has the answer with the cutout dolls of all nations on packages of Kellogg's Crumbles. It's swell fun cutting them out and changing their costumes and collecting all 6 countries in the series, like Norway and Holland and China. 2 cutout dolls with native costumes on every package, and only on packages of Kellogg's Crumbles, the only cereal made in crinkly sort of sweet and mellow-rich shreds of whole wheat. Ask Mom for Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P Pep. Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal, presents
The Adventures of Superman. Today, Superman returns to Metropolis, the mystery of St. Selmo solved, to face the one unconquerable enemy of his very existence, kryptonite, a strange green glowing substance torn from the very planet on which he was created.
Don't take my word for it that the Pep comic buttons in this new series are knockouts. Get yourself a package of Kellogg's Pep and see for yourself. See the way those bright colors stand out against the gleaming white background, the clear, sharp outlines of the pictures of familiar comic strip favorites, and how true to life these funny paper characters are, just like in the comic strips. Don't miss out on one of these 18 different buttons. Make sure that you collect Fat Stuff, Mama Destros, Little Joe, Superman, and all the rest. Get in on the fun when your friends swap duplicates. Sport your jacket or dress or cap with your collection of Pep comic buttons pinned on for everybody to see. And stick around when it's time to open a new package of Kellogg's Pep to find out which button's inside. That's the only way you can get these terrific prizes. You don't send in any money, not even a box top, and you can't buy them anywhere. But there's a comic button inside every package of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Pour yourself a bowl of those golden toasted whole wheat flakes every morning for breakfast. Get a load of that catchy Sunshine flavor, the crisp freshness of this super delicious cereal. For prize eating and exciting prizes, get P-E-P, the Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Trapped in a water-filled submarine sinking to the bottom of the ocean, Lois Lane and Horatio Horn seemed to be doomed. But at the last moment, Superman forced a confession out of Ike Barnaby, the local fisherman who had been responsible for their predicament. Streaking out to sea, Superman located the sunken sub by a stream of bubbles rising to the surface. Then, diving down through the dark depths and calling on every ounce of his superhuman strength, he began forcing it to the surface. But halfway up, his X-ray eyes happened to pierce the steel hull and his heart sank. There, limp and seemingly lifeless on the floor of the submarine, were Lois and Horatio. Afraid that this time he had arrived too late, Superman leaped from the water with the massive submarine raised high above him and with Barnaby looped under one arm and headed for the village of St. Selmo. As we join him now, an hour later, the local doctor steps out of his office to find Superman, now in the guise of Clark Kent, pacing the waiting room floor nervously.
Come in now, Mr. Kent.
Are they all right?
Yes, both recovered.
Oh, good. Lois?
Hello, Clark.
Hello, Mr. Kent.
Hello, Horatio. Well, you two certainly had a close call.
Yes, the doctor told us. But what about Barnaby and the submarine? Did you learn anything?
Everything. The sub is on the beach, and all the townspeople are down there now looking at what they thought was a supernatural monster. Barnaby and Andrews and his crew are in the county jail.
Who's Andrews?
Andrews was conducting salvage operations in the waters around the fishing banks. He was trying to raise a German boat that had been sunk there during the war.
A German boat?
Uh-huh. It seems that when things looked bad for the Nazis, one of their high mucky-mucks, probably Goering, loaded a boat with gold and precious jewels and sent it to the Arctic where the stuff was supposed to be hidden. But never got there. It was sailing under false Allied colors, and a German submarine mistook it and sank it right off this shore.
Jiminy.
Andrews heard about it while he was a prisoner of war in a German concentration camp. And the moment he was released and discharged, he came back and began operations.
But why did he try to frighten people away?
Well, he knew he had no right to the treasure, so he camouflaged a submarine and turned it into a monster. And it worked.
Until we got here.
Yes, Horatio, until you got here.
Well, I'm glad it's over. Now what?
Now I've chartered a plane. We're leaving for Metropolis in 20 minutes.
And so, with the mystery solved and the Phantom of the Sea forever laid to rest, Clark Kent and Lois Lane returned to Metropolis. But even as they settle back in the seats of a charter plane heading south, serious trouble is brewing 1,500 miles away. Trouble for Superman. In the hospital ward of the state prison, a man lies dying. His dark, feverish eyes burn like live coals in his pale, hollow-cheeked face. His body is drawn and emaciated, and his hands, resting on the faded prison blanket, are the fleshless hands of a living skeleton. Looking at him now, one would never think that at one time he was the most dangerous arch-criminal in the world. A man with unlimited power for evil. A man whose very name struck fear into the hearts of all who heard it. Perhaps some of you will remember his name, for it was Superman some years back who finally tracked him down and put him behind bars. Then, too, it was a strange and curious name. What was it? The Laugher. Yes, the Laugher, the man who took human life and laughed while he did it. But now there is no laughter on his thin, pale lips as he motions to the hospital orderly seated beside the bed. The orderly, too, is a prisoner and a man we know. He is Big George Latimer, former political boss of the state, who, through Superman's efforts, was convicted and sentenced to a year in prison. He leans over the bed as the Laugher speaks.
There's something I want to tell you. I better do it before it's too late.
Yes?
It's about Superman.
What about him?
He put both of us here, so we owe him something, don't we?
I don't know about you, but I owe him plenty. All the good it'll do me.
Well, that's what I want to tell you. You'll get a chance to pay him back. You can pay him back for me, too.
How?
With the kryptonite.
The what?
The kryptonite. The only thing that has any power over Superman.
I'd better get the doctor.
No, wait. Listen to me. I know what I'm saying. It sounds crazy, but it isn't. Just listen.
All right, go ahead.
Superman came from another planet. A planet called Krypton. Just before it exploded in space. A couple of years ago, a piece of the planet came to Earth like a meteor. It was picked up in a field. They kept it in a lead box at the Metropolis Museum until the Black Widow stole it.
Look, Laffer, I don't think all this talking is good for you.
Oh, don't be a fool. Listen to me. I haven't much time. You're getting out soon, so I've got to tell you where it is.
Sure. Tell me, I'll get it.
It's in a small lead box. Gotta be careful with it. Glows with a greenish light, and if you touch it, you'll get burned. But as long as you have it, Superman can't get near you.
Why not?
Because it robs him of all his strength. It makes him weak and helpless.
Who told you all this?
Nobody told me. I saw it. Saw it with my own eyes.
What's the stuff called?
Kryptonite. It's a small piece of the planet Krypton. And when he gets close to it here on Earth, it robs him of his strength.
Good Lord. That's true.
It is true, every word of it. Now listen. Superman has some connection with a man named Kent. He's a reporter on
the Daily Planet. Clark Kent, I know him.
All right. You can get to Superman through him. I don't know how, but you get... Oh!
What's the matter?
That pain. My chest. It's getting worse.
Quick. Tell me where to find the kryptonite.
The golden slipper nightclub. Ask for Eddie. I wrote to him. Told him you were coming. He'll give you the box. It's all wrapped up.
Golden slipper. Eddie.
Yes.
As he listens to the Laugher's dying words, the ghost of a smile touches Big George Latimer's lips, and his eyes light up. This is true. I'll be on top of the world again. Kryptonite. Golden slipper. Eddie. We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Say, how that news travels. That good news about the brand new series of comic buttons in packages of Kellogg's Pep. Superman listeners tell their friends until everybody's in on the excitement. And no wonder these new Pep comic buttons are something to cheer about. 18 new and different comic strip characters done up in full color on gleaming white buttons that look mighty slick pinned on your jacket or dress or cap. And what a circus it is collecting them. You get the surprise of finding out which button's inside every package of Pep you open. And you get the fun of swapping duplicates with your pals. You'll want to collect Mama Destros, Gravel Gertie, the Winnie Winkle Twins, Superman, and all the others. Which is why you'll want plenty of packages of Kellogg's Pep. Because that's the only way you can get these new comic buttons. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. But there's an exciting prize in every package of that Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep. There's good eating, too, because these are the whole wheat flakes with that sunny golden toasted flavor that gives breakfast a lift. Yes, sir, you'll like Pep, and you'll like the prizes in packages of P.E.P. The Sunshine cereal, Kellogg's Pep.
And now back to the adventures of Superman. A week has gone by since the strange conversation that ended in death took place in the hospital ward of the state prison. During that time, Big George Latimer, having served his sentence, has been released. We find him now seated in Clark Kent's office at the Daily Planet.
Surprised to see me here, aren't you, Kent? Didn't think I'd have nerve enough to face you.
Oh, no one has ever questioned your nerve, Latimer. What do you want?
Oh, nothing very much. Just a little help from you.
Well, don't expect any help from me. If I had my way, they'd run you out of the state.
Tell me, Kent, what have you got against me?
The same thing I've got against anyone who pushes people around, particularly little people who can't fight back. You kept war veterans from getting state jobs because they didn't happen to go to your church or because you didn't approve of the color of their skin. You're a narrow-minded, bigoted carbon copy of Hitler, and you're a menace to all the decent people of this or any other state.
Those are pretty strong words. Someday you'll eat them.
Well, don't wait around for that day, Latimer. As a matter of fact, don't wait around at all.
Okay, if that's how you feel about it. But before I go, I'd like you to deliver a message for me. I'd like you to tell Superman I want to see him.
Are you kidding? He wouldn't soil his hands on you.
I think he'd be glad to see me.
Oh, you do?
Yes. Just mention one word to him. Kryptonite.
What did you say?
I said just mention one word to Superman.
What word?
Kryptonite.
Sit down, Latimer.
I'm all through.
No, you're not. Sit down.
Cut it out, Kent. I don't want any trouble with you.
You came here looking for trouble, and you're going to get it. Now, what do you know about kryptonite?
Nothing. I don't know anything.
You're lying. Now, out with it.
All right. You want to know, I'll tell you. I've got the only piece of kryptonite in the world.
What?
And you know what it can do. It can control Superman. You hear me? It can control Superman!
Screaming in fanatical triumph, Big George Latimer, unaware that he is actually addressing Superman, reveals his secret to Clark Kent. Now, what will Kent do? He knows that the strange green glowing substance torn from the planet Krypton is his one unconquerable enemy. And now, with a piece of it in the vengeful hands of Big George Latimer, anything can happen. And believe me, fellows and girls, it does. Once again, Superman is forced to fight for his own existence as he has never fought before. You won't want to miss a single word of this thrilling adventure as the Man of Steel tries every possible trick to destroy the kryptonite forever. So remember to listen again tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday. Tune in, same time, same station.
And remember, for breakfast, it's Kellogg's Pep.
For excitement, the adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time by Kellogg's Pep, the Sunshine Cereal. Now that the weather's fine and the birds are back, how's about starting your collection of full-color bird pictures that come one in every package of Kellogg's Crumbles? You'll learn to identify all 24 in the series, like the Oriole and the Scarlet Tanager. And you can trade duplicates with your friends. And look on the side of every Crumbles package for instructions on sending in to get the colorful album so that you can paste in your collection. Tell Mom that you want Crumbles, the only cereal made in crinkly shreds of good whole wheat. Kellogg's Crumbles. And be sure to be with us tomorrow for the thrilling adventures of Superman. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.